is
BWO in the house. Cut
ready to go.
Music.
Cut my music.
What's up, chat? What's up, YouTube? How you doing, guys?
Yes. Nick, I'm so happy to see that you and I both have aged so much better than everyone on the Raw reunion show.
No shit, right?
So happy to see that. Oh, my God. DX came out and it was the saddest. I mean, we'll talk about it on the show, but my God, DX. Stop. No. Oh.
So, hot take. What's worse, the dreadlocks or the beard? You decide.
The dreadlocks or the beard?
Yeah, on Road Dogg.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like he's been watching too many Sonata matches, and he thinks that he can like outdo him for crappy beards.
He's WWE Cold Skull now.
Yeah.
Yes.
With a tenth of the wrestling talent. Yeah, I love it. Way more charisma, way less wrestling ability.
Hey, Esmeralda in the chat said, "Hey, Boogeyman looked good," and I got to agree with you there. When has Boogeyman ever not looked good?
Well, he is an immortal being who never dies, so of course he hasn't aged.
Of course.
Not the makeup at all. It's just, but it's like R-Truth. R-Truth also, like...
R-Truth is embalmed. I'm
ageless.
convinced at this point.
Ageless. And Alicia Fox, too, but we know what she's embalmed with, so it's...
Hello! All right, then. Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast. We're here to do a show today for your entertainment and your pleasure.
A show I'm still writing, I might add.
Yes. Well, guys, if you haven't seen it yet, before we kick the show off, head over to Facebook. Make sure you check out the live video on demand if you didn't get a chance to watch it yet. Lots of good stuff coming this fall from the Busted Wide Open podcast. Just wanted to give you guys a sneak peek, especially get your feedback, give you a first take on it. But we will be discussing a lot of that stuff more and more and more as we get closer to those dates. But, Ian, you ready to go, sir?
I am ready.
You are ready. Chad, are you ready?
I mean, I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Right, well, let's kick things off, as we always do, with our good friends over at Blueberry.
This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites, a no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better media host or looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month free. And with that said, enjoy the show.
Hello, this is the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels, and you can't tell, but right now I'm dressed as Deacon and not the Fallen Angel because I'm at Waterworld, and you are listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast because there's degrees. There's a little bit busted open, but this is Busted Wide Open. You're listening to us, so thanks for listening.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California.
Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast. But if this is your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to episode 150.
Wait, what? This is 150 today?
Episodes.
Oh, I wasn't ready.
My name is Nick Howell.
And still reeking of IPA from the final segment of Raw this week, I am Sir Ian Dangerous.
Yay!
And welcome to 150. 150. We made it. Oh my God. Well, what an appropriate week to be talking about the Raw reunion show, which happened this week. Nick, we had all of the superstars from years past. Well, not all the superstars.
From days of yore.
A good chunk of them. A good chunk of the superstars from days past showed up on Raw this week, and then SmackDown happened. But plus the G1's going on in New Japan, and NXT's building for Toronto, and it was a fun week of wrestling, man. But yeah, dude, we do have a lot to talk about, Nick, so let's do our housekeeping, and then we can get right into the meat of the show.
Yes. Well, guys, as we head into the fall here, you are going to want to be in the Busted Wide Open discussion group if you are not there already. For those of you that are, thank you very much for joining us. We are going to have a lot of things happening as AEW comes up, the new pay-per-view season, SmackDown transitions, lots of changes, all good coming to the Busted Wide Open podcast, so make sure you're on top of things by being in the Busted Wide Open discussion group on Facebook. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BWO Podcast. Right here on YouTube, where we are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On youtube.com/Busted Wide Open. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell so you're alerted every time we put up a new event. And last but certainly not least, if you'd like to get in on this, some good stuff, sweet swag, all kinds of extras, you can head over to patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for one of those awesome monthly reward tiers, or you could simply just tune into the live stream, throw a couple of bucks in the tip jar, whatever you see fit. But our Patreon is patreon.com/BWO. Ian, there's a lot of stuff to talk about this week.
There really is. And I do want to throw a quick thank you to everyone right now in our YouTube chat. They're awesome. And thank you for showing up to the live show, guys. Everyone else, please go to YouTube and click that little thing, that little bell icon. We're going to be starting a subscriber push to our YouTube channel because big things are in the works. And if we can get up pretty high in YouTube, we can get a lot more subscribers in YouTube, then really wonderful things can happen for this show. So we'll be giving more details on that in the next week or two, Nick.
Yes.
But I just want to throw that out right now. Thank you to everyone who's already with us.
Little teaser, Sir Ian Dangerous put his foot in his mouth.
I did?
You did.
Oh. Okay, well, moving on then before I swallow any more leg. Nick, we have much to discuss, so let's go right over and talk about the big news.
Dark days continue. The WWE released their quarterly earnings report, I believe it was today, and they had their investors call. We got to talk some numbers. We got to talk some accounting for a few minutes, but we're not going to spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah, let's not make it too dry because it's pretty dry. Nick, and you're going to have to kind of lead us through this a little bit more than me because, when it comes to business, I don't know crap. I just write the show. The business. But I will say this, man. How bad could it be? Vince McMahon just said it is what it is. It is what it is, so it must be fine, right?
Yeah, that's why Trips and Steph cashed out a ton of their stock, right?
Oh my goodness, did they now?
They did.
Well, from the notes that we have from this quarterly earnings call, we know that the WWE revenue is down 5% from the same time last year, from $281.6 million to $268.9 million. So down a little under 20 mil there. The network subscriptions are down 6%. But there has been a 17% increase in digital video views and a 20% uptick in consumed hours, plus a 10% increase in social media followers. But they did have a downtick in merch. It's down 13%. Apparently, international sales really hurt that. And speaking of attendance, the North American attendance is down only 2%, considering some of the really crazy small audiences we've seen for house shows. It was only 2%. That's saying something. But then international attendance is down 14% year over year. So, Nick, would you want to break that down for us? What are you seeing there? Is that good stuff? Does that mean they're pushing the social media presence, but the money's not there? Is this bad? Is this expected? You're more on top of this as a stockholder yourself.
Yeah,
you animal.
This is hard to swallow as a stockholder because you hear a lot of excuses for things, and I'm going to do air quotes and say reasons why certain things are happening. But look, when you make less money, when you're not growing a business, it's not good. That might as well be decline or failure. If you show no growth, you're doing something wrong. I don't care if you plateau or flatline.
How does that work when WWE is so big and they're expected to keep getting bigger every year? Yeah. They're expected to keep growing the network and everything else?
You hear 5% and you're like, it's 5%. But when you're talking hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in direct gross and net revenues across the board, that's a big deal. That any number that's down, forget the number, forget what the actual millions of dollars are, it's down. And
so how
matters.
how long has WWE been on a downward trend as someone who follows the quarterly earnings reports?
I believe they've been down since this time last year, right before Mania of 2018.
Huh.
So there's been a steady decline in the number of subscriptions to the network and the overall viewership and revenue numbers. It's not been drastic. It's not been anything crazy, ramping or anything, but it's been a steady decline. Now, what I see here is they're trying to flip this around and make up for it by saying, yeah, but look at our digital video views. That's not necessarily the network. That is a big ambiguous buzzword to say digital video views that includes all of the digital videos on social media. That is not just the network. So
right.
Using that to say, hey, but we had a 17% increase and we grew our social media following by 10%. Yeah, but that's not your business.
Right.
To see that you're down 13% in merch and 5% in overall revenue is like, whew, okay.
So another thing I'm seeing here is that they're saying it's going to be okay, stockholders, at the end of the year because we're making all of this money from what they're saying. Their operating income before depreciation and amortization. I have no idea what I just said.
Yeah.
But they're calling it the OBITA.
It's depreciation of assets, basically.
Gesundheit. What that is going to be, that's going to work out to be okay because they've got extra revenue coming in from these large-scale international events, meaning Saudi Arabian money and the Saudi General Sports Authority and a media rights deal in the Middle East. So they're saying that money is going to offset how much they're losing elsewhere.
Yeah.
Is that comforting to you? Because that to me sounds like, I mean, that could go away like that.
I'd be terrified. Apparently,
yeah.
we reported this last year when it first happened. They signed a 10-year, something like $45 million per event deal, something stupid. I just can't remember the numbers specifically. That runs out at some point. Plus, you've got the Fox money coming into the thing, and I'd be curious to see if there's any kind of pull-out clause that Fox has based on performance or anything like that. That's what I'm scared of, to be honest with you.
And I mean, really, speaking of pull-out clauses involving performance, pause. I'm wondering with the Saudi. I mean, there's got to be. Hello. I'm wondering if with the Saudi Arabian deal as well, there's got to be at some point. There's got to be something, a clause in there, I'd imagine too, where it might not even go the full 10 years. So what you're saying is, it's bad. It's not that bad. Could be worse, but you should be a little nervous. And seeing like you said, all the top people pulling out stocks is a little bit alarming as well. Do you think now there's rumors that the network is going to go to a tier system? I hear it's down right now.
100% true that's happening.
Okay. What is your time frame for that? They're saying sometime within the next 6 to 8 months.
Oh, no. Well, okay. So right now you cannot, if you are not a subscriber to the WWE Network, you cannot go and create an account and sign up. What they're doing, yes. Correct. You can still log in and access it if you're currently a subscriber, but you'll see a big thing that says unable to create new accounts. Here's it. WWE Network is being updated. As a result, the sign-in page for the network is temporarily unavailable. Please come back tomorrow to sign up and get your first month free. So I think there's several things at play here. One, it needed a facelift. It's been out there for 5 years. It needs an overhaul. The search is terrible. You want to watch Unforgiven? Here, click through every single pay-per-view we've ever had. Right. It's alphabetical. There's no way to skip forward. I'd like to go watch No Mercy 97. Here's 2013 Royal Rumble.
Why?
What?
Who?
So a lot of that stuff is getting overhauled. This is all good stuff, all back-end systems, right? And the front end is getting overhauled with all the refreshed apps and websites and all of that kind of stuff, from what I understand. The thing that I'm speculating on is the new tiered system that they're talking about dropping. And there's a lot of speculation out there where they're just going to they'll give you a limited amount of hours, like 5 hours a month of archive library stuff that you can watch.
Oh, God.
And then, right. And that scares the bejesus out of me.
Well, yeah, you're on a timer. You're on a timer.
The good news is, for a mere $5 more a month, you don't have to care. $14.99 appears to be what they're going up to get complete unlimited access to everything the way we have it today for just $9.99.
Sure, so they can keep saying $9.99, but then be like, but if you're extra special and you want this super, WWE Hulk Hogan massive major higher tier, you can do that if you're really cool.
Right.
Yeah. No, we've seen, this has happened before with Netflix, with Hulu. Like all of these, it's happening.
Yeah.
Not my boys over at Shudder. However, Shudder still just only $6. But that being said,
and New Japan $8.
And or depending on how the yen is faring to the dollar.
Sure.
But that being said, that makes sense to me. It makes it honestly, as a business person, like they're giving away so much for $10.
Imagine if you still had to pay $60 for every pay-per-view that you watch.
That might also be our perspective, Nick, as people who have had to pay that much for a pay-per-view. We're like, $10 for everything. Please bring it. Yeah. I was one of the people I subscribed right away when I heard that deal. I was like, yes, done. You got me.
Yeah. The first day it was available, I was like, this isn't going to last. We've got to go.
There's no way they can sustain this.
Yeah.
But no, here it is, and it's going to go to a tiered system, which, like I said, I fully expected that, and I'm fine with it. It makes sense, but I do wonder what that will do for their numbers when they're already seeing a decrease down 6%. Yeah. They're going to have to put that extra money not towards their overall financials, but they're going to have to reinvest that to get more programming. Remember when they were making original programming that wasn't ride along, like they were making like top 10 lists and Swerved and stuff like that. And so a lot of those programs just kind of come and go arbitrarily. And some that really shouldn't be there are lasting for way too long, and some that I was like, where did that go?
I love all the Chronicles and the 365s and the Table for Threes. Those are all fantastic. That tickles every part of me that enjoys wrestling content, behind the scenes kind of stuff. Some of it feels a little overproduced in a way. But
it's WWE, right, dude. But yeah, no, so we'll see what happens with the tiered system. A couple more quotes before we move out of this, Nick. So some things Vince said on this call when he was asked about things. Vince, what is your response to some of the good criticisms of creativity? Like, how are you going to change in relationship to that? And one of the things he said was, we'll not be going back to blood and guts. We're not going back to the Attitude Era. Quote, we have definitely turned the corner. We have spent more time on storylines, good ones, and talent development. Is he blowing smoke there?
Let's see.
You think he actually believes it?
I think he actually believes it. Now, what Vince believes is a lot of times fantasy and just complete fiction. Like, he lives in his own world, in his own bubble most of the time. And we have it on record that he doesn't watch a lot of other stuff outside of his own main roster product. So, because he's probably sitting there in the chair watching it live while he's calling the show. Do I think there's money from the WWE coffers being expended into NXT and signing contracts and healthcare and things like that? Sure. Taking care of injured wrestlers. Sure. There's that. But is it above and beyond anything they've ever done in the past? I don't know. I don't think so. It's a big question of whether or not they were spending a lot of money in Q1 going out and competing with AEW and trying to sign a bunch of people to these contracts since WrestleMania and since AEW came to be. If he's lumping that under talent development, then yeah, maybe he's considering that. So
well, and speaking of talent development, he's saying that he wants to spend more time on it, and that's one of the reasons he hired Bischoff and Heyman, is that he feels like he's in the weeds all the time, and he wants to spend more time developing talent. Which, on one side, I am shook with horror at the idea of Vince developing more segments, like Dean Ambrose getting shot in the butt with the inoculation.
Right.
But on the other hand, as much as Vince has a bunch of horrible gimmicks to his resume, he also has some really good ideas to his resume as well. And so I don't want to be like this doomsayer, like, oh my God, Vince is going to have more say over creative, because he has had good ideas in the past. Maybe it's just when he's stressed and well, I say that as I say when he's stressed and busy, but then I think he's got XFL coming up too. So it might also be his way of being able to go and do that. So
Again, this wasn't a giant $100 million haul of stock that Vince liquidated. I think they said they declared it as about $1 million, $800,000 to $900,000. So much ado about nothing in that sense as far as the stock liquidation, but it's never a good sign even with XFL coming, even with the Fox stuff coming, it's never a good sign when you see your CEO, your COO, and your chief brand officer all liquidate stock at the same time. In fact, that would make my SEC alarm bells go, insider, and because you have to file for that stuff, right? You have to file petitions for that.
Is it actually illegal to dump stock before you give a bad report?
Yes. It is a federal crime in the finance industry, big time, for publicly traded companies. Yes.
Well, all right. Well, we'll leave it on that and head across the river to AEW.
More big news.
Oh, man. More big news. Well, speaking of people over at WWE dumping stock and saying, no, everything is fine while things burn, AEW announced that it will be on TNT starting on the 2nd of October, and it will be from 8 to 10 Eastern on TNT. Nothing really world-shaking there. We kind of knew this was coming. Pretty much specifically this.
Other than they put it right up against NXT.
Well, they put it up against NXT as it debuts on the network. Here's the cute thing is that they're already talking about how WWE is planning to possibly have NXT go live on FS1 to counter-program AEW on TNT. Interesting. Mm-hmm. But not too surprising. That's just business. I hesitate to call this another brand war yet. It's a long way from it, and I don't think that AEW is in any way really on the level of like a WCW. Not yet. They'd have to get like they've got a long way to go before we can really call this anything like that. So hyperbole, leave it at the door. But that being said, they are going big. Their first show is going to be held at the Capital One Center in Washington, D.C., that's like a Raw-sized arena. It's 14,000 people.
18.
And if you think of, I've got 14 in my notes.
Really? I thought it was almost one of those. It was like Staples, almost 20,000 people, 18,000 people, something like that.
Well, I think you could probably squeeze those in, but the listed size is 14,000.
We're cut at splitting hairs.
It's big. And the thing is
15,000 people.
Yeah, and even if they don't sell it out, Raw doesn't sell it out these days. You know, the fact of the matter is they're going big. They're going big right off the bat. It's also historically significant. It is the arena back when it was called the Verizon Center, where WCW used to run Starrcade. And in fact, Hulk Hogan versus Sting in '97, the biggest show WCW ever had, was held in this arena. Interesting. So, but they're it's a little bold, and I mean, I know that they're probably intentionally poking the bear with WWE because that again just makes good business sense. I think a lot of fans want to see another or feel like it's another war situation. So doing that kind of makes sense to me. But it's right now it's rumored to be called Wednesday Night Dynamite, their Wednesday night program, and they're going to be running about 100 to 120 shows a year, 4 pay-per-views, 51 weeks of TV, and a bunch of Saturday house shows. So they're going to have a pretty big year as well.
The formula.
They're coming out the gate. They're coming out the gate hot.
Yes, sir.
So it will be very curious to see how AEW does in just over 2 months, Nick. And we're going to have to rejigger our show to deal with that because that's going to screw up our whole weekly schedule.
And you guys will hear more about that as we get closer. Those of you in the Busted Wide Open discussion group got a little teaser of that today. Thank you for giving us your feedback. If you can still see that, if you have not seen it, it's still in the group. Please weigh in. Let us know what you think of the forthcoming changes. But Ian, I think we've really got to kick this into gear. And we had a lot happen this week. And we're in the final kind of legs of setting up one of my favorite events of the year, and that's SummerSlam. And off the heels of Extreme Rules, which was fantastic, we've got a big card forming itself to head into SummerSlam. But to talk about all of those, we've got to head over and talk about Monday Night Raw.
It's the Raw reunion show, Nick. It's like Raw 25 all over again, only much better. This was way better than Raw 25.
It was.
Off the bat, because I'm worried ahead of time. I've been going over this in my head. I'm worried ahead of time I'm going to come across as bitter and jaded during this segment, and I'm determined to offset that as much as I can by saying that this was a better show than Raw 25. But I'm just going to throw this out there right now. Me personally.
Okay.
I hate nostalgia. I hate feeling it. and there is a trend of things going on. I'm gonna speak personally. I'm gonna speak personally here for a second.
Go for it.
All right, I'm gonna get personal. There is a trend of things happening in my life where creative properties that I was a fan of as a young man or even as a boy are being brought back and redone, or worst of all, they're bringing back the characters and the people who played them only as much older, or as basically as they are now, and saying what happens in the future of, I don't know, Han Solo, what's in the future of Picard, what's in the future of Deckard from Blade Runner, what's in the future of the guys from Trainspotting. This has been happening over and over and over again, and it's wearing down on me. It's starting to really get me because they're supposed to be freaking happily ever after to these stories, Nick. I don't want to know that Han Solo had a bratty emo kid and that he sucks and now that he's going to kill his dad. Spoiler alert. But I don't want to know this stuff.
Yeah, me either.
It really does tarnish those childhood feelings that I had for it. And I know if you're a fan of the new Star Wars, woe is me. But this is something that I've been having a continuing issue with, where I don't like getting old, but I don't like seeing the things that I really loved as a kid be continued past what I feel is their expiration date. And I think that there's this kind of nostalgia that comes along with it that is, I hate to use the term toxic nostalgia because it's just wildly overused, but it's a kind of nostalgia that I feel is detrimental to appreciating stories. And so I had to say, I have to admit before this show, I'm a little sensitive to dragging out the old carton horse that you used 20 years ago and showing it to me now. Like I said before we started the show live, man, some of these people look old. DX looks old. I love Shawn Michaels, but watching his bow-legged, janky-eyed ass walk around the ring hurts me. It hurts.
With his boots outside his jeans and his dip tin in his back pocket.
His chaw tin in the back pocket. I don't mind that. But, okay, but on the one side, when I see Road Dogg coming out looking like Grandpa Sonata with his horrible facial hair.
Cold Skull. Yes.
WWE Cold Skull, Cold Dog. When he comes out,
Cold Dog.
It's man. I could close my eyes. He still sounds the same, but I open them. I'm like, oh God, no! Put it away! Oh! X-Pac looked like something they dug up out of the graveyard. Like it's rough. Some people look rough. Some of them look great. And honestly, that's one thing I want to. Before we get into really pulling this apart, I want to throw this out there. There was a couple of moments that really did make me go, okay, that got me. Nostalgia. All right, that was cool. But mostly it was the ones where either it was something that was personal to me, like I just dug it, like I marked out for it, or I felt like they earned it, or it was Stone Cold goddamn Steve Austin, who still can go out there and it feels like old Steve Austin. He still looks pretty similar. In fact, I'd say he's more jacked than he's been in maybe even ever.
Right.
He's got those CT Fletcher arms going on right there.
He does.
Boy's been working out with CT. So yeah, he's looking good. But he felt good. But look, we'll go through it bit by bit here, Nick. I think I'm getting ahead of us here. I'm ranting.
Yeah. All right, so moving on, we got to talk about SmackDown. No, I'm kidding.
No, go back. All right, let's go through it piece by piece here.
On this show.
A lot. I just want to preface it by saying I wasn't mad at it all. Like when you hear me bitching as we go through this.
I enjoyed this immensely. There were several moments that I cringed at. I was like, but I had a blast. I didn't take it too seriously, and I hope that people approached it that way and not the way that you did, Judgy McJudgerson.
Yeah. Shut up.
I had fun. It was the nostalgia tour. Great. The ratings are down. Let's bring back all the old lapsed fans and show them all their people that they used to love. Yeah.
That was patronizing, pandering. Anyway.
If you can get past that.
Yes. It
was a good time.
Yeah, yes. And honestly, from the reports we're hearing backstage, it was a really good time for all the people that they brought back. Like they gave them the VIP treatment. They gave them a nice little room with a bunch of couches and catering to sit and reminisce on old times. Apparently, after the show went off the air, Austin and Flair went to the bar and just got hammered, ham-boned. So yeah, apparently it was a blast for all the old timers who were there. And some of the segments with the old timers, I like I said, worked better than others. Let's go down the list of everything that happened. And there's some that are just salted in later. They try to salt them in everywhere this week. We had opening up the show, Brapadu John Cena comes out and says, "Oh, all I had to do was go away, and you guys are nice to me." Well, yeah, John, go away and not win every match that you're not supposed to. Those two things. But sure, welcome back, John. Nice to see him. He came back, and then the Usos came out, and they had a little mini rap battle, which was cute. He made fun of their mugshots, which we'll come back to later in the show because they added one after the segment to their mugshot
Apparently
list.
They went to the bar with Flair and Austin.
Apparently, and stayed there for 2 days.
Yeah.
So the Usos came out. They had a little wrap-off. And then they brought out their pops, Rikishi, which I haven't seen him out there in a while, so that was nice to see. As an old fan of Rikishi's back in the day.
Did you get up and dance and get ready to dance with him?
I did not get ready to dance with them, Nick, but they did get ready to do the little dance, but they were interrupted by the Revival, who came out with the Dudley Boy.
Devon.
One Dudley. Yeah, they didn't come out with Bubba Ray because he's busy over in Ring of Honor. Notably absent. But they came out with Devon. Cool. And then we had an Usos and Rikishi versus Revival and Devon match where Devon and Rikishi kind of like faced off outside the ring, distracted Scott Dawson, and he got taken out, and the Usos win. And as a result, get a title shot. So at least there was something on the line in this match. I don't know. Should we at least be grateful that was on the line and that it wasn't just like a kind of a fluff match?
Sure, absolutely. I'm all in. Remember, guys, for weeks I've been saying Revival and Usos all day. Feed it me, pump it straight into my veins. I want it. Like, give it to me. That's a fantastic. It'll probably be on the pre-show again. But unfortunately, but at the same time, I'm never going to be mad if this is what it took to get them into a big match at SummerSlam. Yeah, okay. Why no stink face though? That's the thing.
So no dance, no stink face. Rikishi wasn't medically cleared, apparently. I don't know.
That's an interesting point. That was apparently a lot of them were never medically cleared, and the original plan was to have a lot of them in matches, from what I understand.
Yeah, but there's a reason they don't wrestle.
They made that plan before they medically cleared all of them, which none of them passed.
Yeah.
So,
and apparently, I mean, the WWE doctors these days are a lot more careful than they were back in the Attitude Era. Let's just put it that way. A lot of people are not cleared by fairly minor things or things that you and I would say they're fine. They can go in there. Just ask Daniel Bryan. But apparently Rikishi was not medically cleared to give someone a stink face. I'm not even going to ask what medical issue he had that prevented him from giving someone a stink face.
Colitis.
I don't even want to know. I was trying to avoid that. Nick, thank you. Moving on, we had another segment. We had basically a bunch of segments with the old timers. I'll call it that. Some of them obviously aren't old, but the people who were there for the reminiscence. We had a sequence with Santino Marella and Tori Wilson and Alicia Fox, where they were kind of goofing off, and Drew McIntyre was disgusted by them. We mentioned DX came out. Well, that all came about because Seth was on Miz TV, where he chased off Paul Heyman and cut a promo on Brock Lesnar that was kind of weird, but we'll get back to that. But then he later had a match with AJ Styles, where AJ Styles had the now called the OC, not the club. They're now the OC, the original club. I don't know, but they were all ringside. Well, DX came out to stand with Shawn Michaels and Triple H came out to stand with Seth. And then as the club continued to be meanies, the rest of DX came out, Road Dogg and X-Pac, and even the Outsiders. You had Hall and Nash were there too. Yeah. So they all came out, and then after scaring off the club, which was kind of sad, they had a big old celebration in the ring, and it was also sad. So this segment, real quick before we go on, two things. One, just a quick touch on the Seth Rollins Miz TV segment. Was that promo really weird, or was it just me? He was imitating Brock Lesnar and calling him like a big red face, like Godzilla guy. Was that weird, or was it just me?
I mean, people were making a big deal out of it. I didn't lose any sleep over it. He did the Brock Lesnar, and I do that. I've done that here on the show a bunch of times. So
Sure.
So it's fun. I didn't think there's anything wrong with it. Fine.
I don't know. Some people have issues with their baby faces acting a little silly. Like they want him to be serious all the time. So I don't know. There was a little bit of pushback on that, like it was too in-jokey. But it was. I thought it was fine on the fact he scared off Paul by saying, "I'm going to come to the top of that ramp, stomp you into the ramp by the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5," and Paul runs off. That was
silly.
It was fun. But okay. So the DX segment was them. Did you feel that they buried the club, or did the club get away kind of looking okay because they were outnumbered so much?
That was the point of it. That's what I took from it, is that, now we got 3-on-1 again going to Seth Rollins. Here comes DX to save them.
Now it's evened up.
Or it's even the odds have switched.
Right.
So it's, and then, the whole thing with the OC putting up the horns and the Too Sweet and
trying to get Triple H and Shawn Michaels to
and then Triple H, come on, camera guys, clearly seeing him count out 1, 2, 3 to time it, and then doing and I'm just going, oh God, okay. That's where it started to get a little long in the tooth for me, but I didn't hate any of this. I loved Seth Rollins filling in and doing it. If you're not down with that, fine, okay, sure. That crowd was live for it, so the crowd was good, and it made it more participatory.
Yeah, to me, again, I think it was just the fact that they all looked so haggard that I was just like, I couldn't connect. I couldn't connect with it. It didn't work the way that they wanted to for me, and the fact that they should be taking this time to put over the OC. Yeah. This was a good opportunity to do that, but these guys don't lay down for frickin' anybody. Just ask the Revival from Raw 25, where they got just murdered. So, yeah, that's more my issue here, is that they had an opportunity to put over the new guys, and all they did was give Seth the rub, which is ironic considering that originally it wasn't supposed to be Seth. That spot was supposed to go to Ricochet, but he had an elbow infection, this ongoing elbow infection he's have a problem with, so they gave it to Seth instead. Now, while I think that it's appropriate to give Seth that rub, can you imagine what this would have done for Ricochet?
Yeah.
To get that rub? Yep. My God.
New guy, not even been on the main roster, turn of the year, 6 months. Already has a U.S. title, and he's coming out being able to fill in for legends.
It tells you what they think about him.
Yep.
Like you and I, when we were doing our how high can they rise thing, we thought Vince wasn't going to, give him the time of day.
I would have guessed the opposite. We were really high on Aleister Black, thinking that they would be higher on him. Look at the juxtaposition there.
Well, I think they are high on him. They just kind of bungled. I think Vince thought that his whole promo shtick was really good. You know what? Anyway, so, all right. Well, moving on from this segment, I kind of feel like they should have put OC look over a little stronger. But as it was, they got to look like heels opposite DX. So I guess I can talk myself out of being rage. #wrestling. We had a match, Rey Mysterio versus Sami Zayn. But it got interrupted by Sergeant Slaughter, RVD, Hurricane, and Kurt Angle randomly as Sammy was pulling his heel shtick. Because why not? Those guys go together like Rama-Lama-Lama-Lama-Lama Ding-Da-Dong. I don't know. Maybe I'm as high as RVD obviously was to think that. But or maybe whoever booked this was as high as RVD, very obviously. That guy's eyes were so red and puffy, Nick. I don't know how he could see. My God.
He's a very well-known pothead. Big time.
Really? You don't say.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
RVD?
Yeah, just for people that
smokes
didn't know.
Weed?
Yeah.
What?
He smokes a lot of weed.
No.
He's got a lot of joint injuries that probably helps with.
He's got a lot of joint injuries. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying?
Womp, womp.
Womp, womp. So, yeah. So that was just like a random, hey, here's a bunch of guys. Boom. There you go. Bray Wyatt was one of my favorite ones of the night. Mick Foley was out in the ring, got interrupted by the 24/7 guys running through the ring, and was saying, this is a night to reminisce on our fondest memories. Here's one of mine when I won the title from The Rock, January, I believe it was 4th, 1997, something like that, 98. And started to play that great moment on the shoulders of DX in the ring, reminding us how young and vibrant they used to look. And all of a sudden the lights started going out in the arena. And then all of a sudden when they came back up, Bray Wyatt was in the ring holding up his hands. Which one? Heel, hate. I'm going to go with hate. And he gave the mandible claw to Mick Foley in the middle of the ring while the lights went down and flashed creepily on him. This was awesome and executed very well, I think, Nick.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Scary, genuinely scary.
It was, and I would not have expected that to be who Bray Wyatt would come out after. But he didn't have his teeth in, Mick didn't, you could tell.
Yeah, well.
And then so he comes out and he gives him the mandible claw, and I'm like, oh, that's why. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They didn't want to have Mick say too much without the teeth.
Yeah.
But that was great. Here was a moment of a classic wrestler putting over a new one in a major way. And frankly, in a very smart way. He uses his own move on him, and it makes him extra terrifying. Like, who does that? That's so creepy. This was, I thought, a brilliant use of an older talent to put over a younger talent. Simple, effective, very good segment. And we had to talk about all that 24/7 stuff. I mentioned they ran through the ring in this segment. Well, we had a lot of title changes on this Raw, Nick. Shall I run down them real quick, or do you want to do the honors?
Be my guest, because
okay.
I'll weigh in here from time to time.
All right. Let me see if I can get all this right. So first of all, Drake Maverick is your 24/7 champion. R-Truth was. During an interview, he's rolled up by Drake Maverick after they looked at everything they did at Comic-Con. Drake Maverick is your new 24/7 champion. Drake Maverick is celebrating in the locker room. He gets creeped out by the boogeyman, and while he's still incapacitated on the floor, Pat Patterson stomps on him, puts the boots on him, and gets the 1, 2, 3 and grabs the belt, runs off. After commercial, we see Pat Patterson has been beaten down and has had the belt taken off of him by Gerald Briscoe. That's a nice callback. The Stooges, one-upping each other again.
What are you, Stooge?
What are you, Stooge? And then Briscoe's, running down the hall going, I'm the champ, I'm the new champ. And he runs into Kelly Kelly, who's so happy for him. She's so happy for him. And then she boots him, pins him. Kelly Kelly is your new 24/7 champ. Well, she's celebrating. She ends up seeing Candice Michelle in the hall along with a couple other ladies, and they are all happy for her until Candice Michelle boots Kelly Kelly, puts her head into one of the steel struts around the right next to him, and boom, she's pinned 1, 2, 3. Candice Michelle is your new 24/7 champion. She starts dancing and celebrating. Then she gets choked out by Alundra Blaze, who comes out of nowhere and puts a horrible choke move on Candice Michelle. Horrible choke move. But Candice Michelle, I guess, taps out to it. Alundra Blaze is your new 24/7 champion.
This is where it got weird for me, for the record. Like, I was fine with everything that was happening. I was even marking out seeing Pat Patterson and Jerry Briscoe get the belts. I thought that was a nice touch on a reunion night. Once we got to Alundra Blaze, I just went, oh, God. And then what proceeded to happen beyond this, I just kind of...
It was amazing. This is the best part. I was getting to the best part.
That's where we're going to disagree.
Oh, we are going to disagree severely, sir, because now we got to one of my favorite nostalgia moments of the whole show. Like, one of the parts where they actually got me. They got me with this. Alundra Blaze walks out to the stage. She says, I'm not going to be 24/7 champ long. Walks out of the stage up to the commentary area, stands next to the commentary area, grabs a trash can, and holds at the 24/7 championship like she did with the WWE Women's Championship back in the day on WCW, and threatens to throw it in the trash. But before she can do it, out comes the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Money.
And he buys it off of her. I'm sorry, dude. I'm always going.
You'll always get me with Ted DiBiase. The Alundra Blaze bit and throwing it in the trash can, and that taking as long as it did, and the terrible choke out was just Ted DiBiase's
The choke out
fine.
was bad, but Alundra calling back to that was. But Ted DiBiase going, before you make another bad decision. That was great. That was great stuff. And honestly, I'm sorry. Ted DiBiase buying a title off of somebody is going to make me mark out. That's classic.
Fine.
That's a classic.
That I give you. And I have a $1 Million Man T-shirt. So
okay.
Yeah. So I love me some Ted DiBiase. That part's
Same.
I love that. And the callback he made was fine. It was the choke out and just her not being that good on the mic. It was a little cringy.
I couldn't stand the Divas section of this.
What was interesting about this was what developed, and I don't know if you have this at the end of the show, so I'm going to take a risk here, but what developed on Twitter between Alundra Blaze and Lacey Evans.
I do actually have this just a second later at the end of this whole Raw segment here. I have it a little bit later. So pause on Alundra Blaze and Lacey Evans, because that's a hot topic we got to get to. Yeah. So put a little note on that.
The Twitter wars continue.
Holy crap. We'll come back to that, but I gotta finish the 24/7 thing, Nick. You gave me an assignment. I have to see it through. All right. So Ted DiBiase has purchased the title. He gets it to his limo. There's some very obvious someone banging on the trunk and some bad special effects. The camera zooming in, whatever. It's supposed to be someone tussling in the limo. Out pops Drake Maverick. He's the new 24/7 champ again. And then he gets rolled up by R-Truth as he's trying to make his escape with his beautiful wife. R-Truth jumps in the limo with the wife and the belt. He's gone. Drake Maverick is left with no wife, no belt. And that's the 24/7 championship for this edition of Raw. What do you think that this is what we wanted to see with the 24/7 championship? Just goony, crazy, throw it at the wall nonsense?
Yeah, it's still not there yet. Just keep getting crazier. Like, I love the idea that, Truth jumps in and Drake yells, "My baby, come back! And my wife!"
And my wife. What do you think about Kelly being the first female 24/7 champion? And the fact that they actually showed they are willing to have a woman win this, leading credence to the whole "why doesn't Carmella go for it" angle.
I think it proved that was viable, and that's a thing that we're going to see at some point. Maybe they're saving it for an intergender kind of thing at some point between Truth and Carmella. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting how this all shakes out. So it is interesting that they gave it to Kelly first and not Carmella. I think we all kind of thought that's where this was going to go. So no, I'm actually over the moon excited that they did finally put it on a woman, even though it was during a reunion show. That's fine. Hey, shout out to Dominic Jacques as well for the $1 in the tip jar, man. Thank you very much.
Word.
Much
Thank
obliged.
You, yes, sir.
So yeah, this continues to ramp up. The 24/7 stuff with Drake continues to be fantastic. At the end of the last shot that we saw was Drake Maverick looking up at Carmella, standing over him as the limo drove away with his baby and his wife.
Yes, that's where we left it.
Drake made an interesting decision to tweet out that picture with the Brazzers logo at the bottom of it.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a good idea. So we'll see what kind of fallout we get from that. What are these guys doing on Twitter, Ian? Just good Lord.
Drake and Truth?
Everybody.
Seth, they're up in their game.
Becky and Lacey and Alundra. Why are they doing all this?
Did we mention at the top of the show, Nick, that there is a 10% increase in social media followers?
There you go.
And that they've had a 17% increase in digital video views? Did we mention that? Whatever they're doing, it's freaking working.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why. And if people are questioning what the 24/7 championship is for, it's for exactly that. It's to get some other people. First of all, it's getting people that would never have TV time, and it is driving some massive numbers to the social media. So for that standpoint, it's working wonders. And frankly, it remains somewhat an unpredictable and fun aspect of the TV show. Even if it's completely goony and goofy and you can't take it seriously, that is the point. You have other segments you can take seriously. What they're doing with the 24/7 championship is successful. I would love to see it get way goonier, even more creative with it, go completely nuts. But what they're doing and the purpose they're doing it for, it's effective.
I think we'll get there, and I'm not in a hurry for them to get there. I like the progression that it seems to be getting more and more goony. Right now, I think we're locked into a bit of a back and forth. It's turning itself into a program on its own between Drake Maverick and R-Truth. Let's see where it goes beyond that.
I would like to see
I like the slow burn of it.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see something else happen besides just Drake and Truth being the main characters in it.
Sure.
Let's go a little further beyond that. But as it is, I can't hate on it too much. But let's talk about the big segment, the big reunion segment, the toast to Raw at the end of the show, with everyone lining up, just tons of people lining up on stage. Some people getting called out, some people not, and Ric Flair coming out to be in front of everybody and get cheered, and then Hulk Hogan coming out to be standing in front of everybody to get cheered.
Well,
and finally, he got cheered. It's in Tampa, Florida. He got some
interesting sly looks from several key superstars.
Yeah, and from several key audience members too. I noticed as they cut back and forth, but as you would expect. but he still got a pretty raucous reaction. They were smart to do this in Florida, his hometown. You're not going to get too much of a bad reaction there. But someone who got a great reaction, still the loudest pop of the night, the glass shattered and out came Stone Cold. Steve Austin ran down to the ring, cracked a couple of Broken Skull IPAs. Or sorry, what are they calling them? Stone Cold IPAs. They're Broken Skull IPAs, kids. I know if you're watching live on our YouTube channel, I should know. I'm holding up a tap handle. I love this beer so much. I put it on at my bar. So he's down there cracking Steve IPAs, and he starts just
Steve Weisers.
They're not Steve Weisers anymore. They're not Bud. They're Steve IPAs.
There were Coors Lights and Miller Lights and all kinds of stuff over the years, but they're Steve Weisers because he's drinking them.
So he cracked some more Stone Cold IPAs and immediately began to just start talking about the good times that he and the kids had. Went into an old Stone Cold promo, cut a huge Stone Cold promo, just as good as he was back in the day.
This is my heartstrings just getting plucked. Bink, bink, bink.
He had. This was of all the things on this show where I was rolling my eyes and saying, ugh, that was goofy, or ugh, that was pandering. This was neither. This was genuine, where he was genuinely excited to be there. He was happy to be there. He was as good as he ever was with cutting the promos. Making us talking about how he ran into Ron Simmons in an elevator at the hotel, and I just had a grin from ear to ear. And then he called everyone to the ring, and they all cheers and celebrated. And he was like, even stopped at this point and was like, hey, how much time we have left? A minute? Okay, I'm going to tell another story. And he was like, hey, so me and Briscoe were in somewhere, and we were doing something illegal, and that was the story. Hey, cheers. And they go off the air to him going, oh, hell yeah. This was awesome. It was because it felt breezy. It felt natural. It felt off the cuff. It felt like a thank you to the fans, a thank you to the other superstars. It felt like something genuine. This is the one time in this whole show I genuinely felt something genuine. And it really did actually bring a smile to my face and go, okay, this was good.
Yeah, I mean, my face the whole time was just watching it, just super happy, super stoked, over the moon, loved. So here's the one takeaway I had. This felt a little bit like Vince said, I need you to go out there and get all our fans back, Stone Cold. So he had this speech where he was talking about family, and he would look directly into hard cam that was pulled in real close on him. You guys all watching at home, you're all family. Yeah. And I was just like, sorry, Dad, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to watch AEW. But I really like it. It's really good. Have you seen the G1? It's good, Dad. Don't yell at me. That's what that felt like a little bit. And I'm wondering if that was intentional to make sure to remember how awesome we used to be, fans? Just to drive them back. I felt a little bit on the nose, if I'm being honest. I don't think that you're being I think you're right on. I think that this absolutely was a way to kind of goose the lapsed fan to come back and watch some of their stuff. I don't know if they had enough other content on the show that would get the lapsed fan back into it. Yeah. And we're going to go into some of the other content here in a second. Maybe they did. I mean, looking over it now, they had some good stuff, but it definitely felt a little bit desperate. And I don't want to be projecting, I don't want to be a doomsayer more than we already are, but it did feel a little bit desperate. On the part of WWE here. See how much we love you? We love you. And you love us. Remember all these things you used to love? Here they are again. Don't you love us? Please pay for the network and watch our shows.
Don't go. Yeah. Don't go. Sorry. We're sorry for all the things
as long as it's on the air, I can commit that I'm probably going to watch it. So I don't know if I'm the intended audience or not to what was put on display. But I certainly enjoyed it, and there were several times I marked the hell out, big time. And I went and watched it again. I was with you guys in the chat, in the Facebook group, live for that show. I wasn't going to miss that one. And then I went back and watched it again on Hulu because, damn, it's just good. I want to take advantage of. And here's the thing with nostalgia, Ian. You made that big speech at the beginning. Here's the thing that I want to weigh in with. There's only going to be, Undertaker is kind of proving us wrong, proving my point wrong here, but there's only going to be so many more times I get to see the people that I loved in the WWF on TV. There's only going to be so many more times, if any, for some of them. And anytime I get an opportunity to scratch that itch, right, that nostalgia itch of, oh God, yes, I remember those days. I remember how awesome this was. I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to let go of the reins and enjoy the ride, and I'm just going to soak it all in. So while it might have felt desperate on the surface, I'm kind of the target audience that they were going for here.
Sure.
To be honest.
Sure. Well, I mean, and then I'm glad that we're on the respective sides of the fence that we are, because I definitely feel like at a certain point it's healthier to just let something go and be in the past and not try to relive these old memories when they're never going to live up to what they once were, and they're only going to make the past memories seem even less by comparison. It's hurting the legacy.
Yeah.
So, and I know that sometimes you're with me on that. Like, there's some things where you agree with that, but this show obviously didn't do that to you, and that's great. That's fine. I think that on a lot of metrics, this show really did accomplish that.
They got over the 3 million viewer mark again for the first time in I don't know how long.
Well, it was the highest rated Raw this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it goosed their ratings. We knew it was going to goose their ratings, but I have a hard time believing it was just to goose ratings. I don't feel like it was. I feel like there was more to it. There's probably a lot of different elements to it, kind of honoring their past superstars and sending out rallying the troops, if you will. Then there's a lot of things that were at play here. But I'm glad to hear that, you did get something out of it, and that it was something that was meaningful to you. And in the same way that, like, a lot of people really like, all the, and as you said in my big rant, there was a lot of those things that I talked about, people really enjoy.
Yeah.
People really enjoyed. And you know what? Fair play. And that's why I wanted to put the caveat at the top of the show, or top of the segment, that, like, I get it. This might just be me. It might just be my peccadillos, and that's it. I can see this as, being fatuous pandering and playing violins on the Titanic all I want. But, at the end of the day, I have to look at it as well and say, there was really some good stuff here, and I get why people still have that emotional connection to it when they watched it.
Yeah, to be fair, I completely agree with your rant in the aspects of stop messing with my favorite movies from my formative years and stop trying to remake everything. Hollywood, I'm talking to you. You hear me? Quit it. Knock it off. We don't need RoboCop again.
You ready to watch Picard? Old ass Picard?
No, it was bad enough in Logan.
That was a good movie, though. Anyway, all right, that's different.
Movie.
Different podcast. Yeah. Different podcast. Sid was supposed to be here. Psycho/Sid Justice was supposed to be on the show. He wasn't here. Thoughts on why, Nick? Any idea?
Do he and Hogan, can they be in the same room together? Maybe that's why.
He and Arn Anderson can't. They're the ones that can't be in the same room together because
I'm sorry. That's right.
He stabbed Arn. Remember? Yeah. You can't. He can't.
I actually was a little concerned that Arn didn't show up. But then I remembered he's over doing AEW stuff now.
Yeah.
Right?
Arn, Billy Gunn, JR. They're all over in AEW. They're not going to be there. I like the little aside that DX gave to Billy. They're like, "Where's Billy? We forgot about Billy." That was cute. JR put out a statement as to why he said he was here to inspire the guys in AEW. I think it would have been a bad look to do it. I agree completely. I get why JR wasn't there. Lawler was there. Lawler and Booker T both jumped out on commentary at one point. That was great. Booker should still be on commentary. Yeah. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. They had Otunga on SmackDown, and Booker should have been in that spot. Just going to say that. Yeah. But Sid, we don't know. They didn't tell us why Sid wasn't there. I can only assume it's softball season. That's the only thing I can assume. He's got better things to do, like playing softball. But okay, so Nick,
everybody's got their priorities.
Everyone has their priorities. Everyone has their price.
Hey, was there any wrestling on this show?
Yes, but we get to talk about Twitter wars before we get to wrestling. Remember?
Okay, yeah.
Before we move on to the rest of the show, we got to talk about.
We promise there's going to be some wrestling on this wrestling podcast.
So Lacey wasn't actually on Raw, but she weighed in on Twitter and said, "Legends equals yesterday's nasties." And someone's replied to her and said, "I wouldn't mind seeing you and Medusa have a brief stare down." Lacey said she wouldn't be able to handle it, just like she couldn't handle holding the 24/7 title. Medusa responded, "You'll be lucky to be considered a legend. You failed in the military. You live in a portable trailer, drag your kid and husband around. Your hubby looked at me, gave me a compliment, and said, 'Honey, maybe you could be more like Alundra. Your yesterday regurgitated garbage.'" Damn.
Hot fire.
Damn. Medusa can't throw on a chokehold, but she can choke you out on Twitter.
Damn.
My goodness.
You guys that are just coming up in WWE, that's how you cut a promo on somebody.
Holy crap. She went on. DiBiase never pinned me for the title. He handed me over some cash, and I gave him the title. Men get distracted easy by shiny new things like your husband did when I walked by. When you're done acting your shoe size rather than your age, contact me. Jesus. Is she the one writing Becky's Twitter? Is that where this is going?
It might be the same backstage person, yeah. That's meta AF. But if you guys heard the bonus episode, me talking about some social media stuff and the way that's coordinated behind the scenes, it felt very much like Becky's, whoever's been writing Becky's Twitter, quote unquote.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm only reading off the first couple of tweets in this feud. I'm actually
been going on for days.
On and on and on. It's just
all week.
It's just going on. That's some of the best stuff though, right there. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so they went off on Twitter for some freaking. I don't know if we're gonna have an Alundra Lacey feud, but I'm in now.
Okay,
I'm in if they do. Just don't let Alundra put a chokehold on Lacey because dear God.
No.
So the rest of the show, Nick, it's going to be a long Raw today. Lots of other stuff happened on the show. Drew McIntyre had another match with Cedric Alexander, got his win back because, yay, WWE booking. Samoa Joe, this was one of my favorite segments of the whole show. Samoa Joe came out and talked smack about the Usos and Rikishi at the top of the show. Roman didn't like him talking smack about his family, came out and said, what were you saying? And Samoa Joe basically said, I just said it. I already said it.
You're from the same island. You know what this means.
You know what happens now, right?
I love that.
Samoa Joe going, yup, I do. And they started tussling. Roman said, and Samoa Joe, he took a powder, wanted out of the match, started walking away. Roman said, come on back, let's do this. And Samoa Joe said, no. And Roman said, well, sorry, everybody. Didn't realize one of us Samoans was a coward. And Joe got all mad. We got a match. This is better than their match at Backlash. This was fantastic stuff. I loved the reason for Joe to get back in the match. This was a good commercial break reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To have that break there and then have the match. And it was a great match. What do you think about Joe losing again?
We teased this Samoan feud between Joe and Reigns a year ago. And I
wanted the Samoan feud forever. Yeah.
I'm all in on it. So I got my appetite whetted again, going, oh, yes. Just a whole match of nothing but Samoan headbutts. Yes, please. Just give me that. I would love to see these two just tear each other apart. Just absolutely go nuts because they kind of
did this match. Like it was a nice physical match. I thought it looked great. I had a lot of fun with this. The only thing was a problem was Joe got beaten by Joe clean, and by that I mean Roman. Of course, Roman wins. Lol. So again, but this was just okay. He beat Joe. Boom, one and done. Didn't really have any relevance to any other feud. I don't think they're doing a Roman and Joe feud right now. I'd be down if they did, but Joe just got beat clean. So kind of a bit of a waste. But do you feel like, because they put Joe over strong all the time. Mm-hmm. He just never wins. He doesn't win these matches.
Bray Wyatt.
Is that okay? But yeah.
But he's going to suffer the same fate of diminishing returns that Bray did. Within 5 to 6 months of Bray Wyatt finally winning the WWE Championship at, was it Survivor Series, I believe, or Elimination Chamber? I can't remember which one. He lost it at Mania, and then he was done. Yeah, Elimination Chamber. Thank you. It was just around the same time that year. He was gone. Poof. And then he came back and did the Woken thing with Matt Hart. Anyway, my point is that there's only so many times you can have somebody come out, tout how much of a badass they are. Give Joe all the belts, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like, he's the best man on the mic, period, in the company, period.
The difference between him and Bray, though, is that he can act like a badass and act like a badass in the matches, just not win. And he's going to have a little bit longer of this where he's a bad man, but he just can't quite win the match at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Sudden spear, and he's down. And he did kick out right after the 3. So I felt like they kept him looking pretty strong. But it is something that you have to look at and say at some point, you really have to let Joe back up his words.
Yeah, and they've been letting Roman lose from time to time recently.
Roman Reigns.
So I think this would have been a good opportunity to let Roman lose. Under the veil of the reunion show, give Joe a little bit of a rub, keep him hot.
But that's the thing. If you're getting all these lapsed fans coming back, you want to be like, hey, this is our boy Roman. He's a winner. So, no, I didn't expect Roman to lose this at all.
Okay. That's a fair point.
all the, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's also we had a segment with Natalya and Becky where Becky came out on a moment of bliss, and Natalya immediately came out as soon as they mentioned Canada, because, of course, they did.
Right.
And they did not take long to get into a nice pull-apart brawl while Nikki and Alexa stood on the side and sipped their coffee at the same time. Any takeaways from this? Is Nikki kind of still in limbo with the whole Alexa feud? Is that just they're keeping that on the sidelines till they're ready for it? Are you more excited about Natalya and Becky now?
No.
What are your thoughts? Oh, cold-blooded. Why not? What didn't work about this for you?
I don't want to regurgitate all this again about Natty because I felt bad. I felt guilty about it last week as I was doing it. And then when I listened back to the show over the weekend, I was just like, oh, God, I shouldn't have buried Natty that hard. Listen, I just don't think right now she has the level of relevance to what they were building around Bayley and Nikki over the last month leading up to what happened at Extreme Rules a couple weeks ago. So I feel like the program should have continued with Nikki and Alexa on the side. Natalya feels like an unnecessary insert, a la Roman Reigns or a la Charlotte Flair, just inserted in there for no reason. No reason. And I think it has nothing to do with Natty. It just has everything to do with, like, there's why? You had a perfect thing going with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss coming up with some dastardly plan to get that SmackDown Women's Championship off of Bayley. What is this? Why are we doing this now?
It does feel like they don't have someone on the level of Becky right now, and that is too bad. That being said, I felt this pull-apart brawl, what made the physicality of it made me more excited for this match a bit. I'm not super excited for the feud or the angle, but I was like, ooh, this was, because it was good, nice and physical, nice physical pull apart. Okay, cool. I didn't have a problem with it. I'll put it that way.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It didn't hurt anything. I don't feel like it was a step backwards.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
What was a step backwards for everyone involved? Mike and Maria Kanellis were backstage in what was supposedly the catering area. They were talking to, let's see, Maria found Mr. Kanellis talking to Eve Torres, and we thought that she was going to be jealous, but no, she just wanted him to rub some lotion on her belly so she wouldn't get stretch marks because she's the breadwinner, because she's the model, and he's never going to amount to anything, and stalks off only for Ron Simmons to walk up, grab Jimmy Mouth of the South Heart's megaphone, and take a long time going, damn.
That was amazing. Like, I want to cut that into a GIF. Like just him grabbing the bullhorn and giving that little a little laugh that he did when he almost corpsed when he grabbed it, and then it sounded like it was coming through a megaphone. Just amazing. Just damn, just the way it came through. The whole thing was fantastic. That might be, aside from Stone Cold, that might be the thing I popped the hardest about, was him doing that through the megaphone. I thought it was fantastic. I want to say one other thing real quick. If you're not watching what Mike Bennett is doing over on 205 Live, you're missing out.
There you go.
And it is completely, this horse shit that's going on the main roster is completely undercutting the what Mike Bennett, I'm going to keep calling him Mike Bennett because Maria is the train wreck here. Maria is going to be the thing that drags it all down. Mike Bennett is fantastic in the ring, and he cuts fantastic promos. And if you haven't seen the stuff he's cut against Drake Maverick over the last couple of weeks, you're missing out. Because he's finally getting that rub. If it wasn't for the fact that everything else on 205 Live has been gangbusters recently, they would be the best thing on 205 Live. But they're doing very, very good stuff. Bischoff was in the scene too. I forgot to mention that. Bischoff showed up briefly as a character. Anyway, this was just more painful stuff with these two. Can't wait for this whole thing to end. It's awful. Viking Raiders also squashed Hawkins and Ryder, and Christian was on commentary for it. Poor Hawkins. And poor Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. They cannot catch a break. And finally, Braun Strowman, apparently, there was rumors that he was going back to his roots. Apparently, they were true because he came out and squashed an enhancement guy named Randy Rowe this week. Who Corey accidentally called Randy Rhodes, and we had a whole big running joke about it. Ozzy's guitarist now being in the WWE. I can't understand why people are giving Corey a hard time for this. I almost called him Randy Rhodes just now, and I was reading it off the computer. Like, I want to say it. I just want to say it. It's just too easy. I'm a huge Ozzy and Randy Rhodes mark too, so it was very easy to slip up. I'm sure Corey's a massive fan as well. But I'm sure. I mean, I know that he had to have felt like he
ran the plane into the tour bus, but he didn't. It's okay. It's not a big deal. That being said, Nick, there's a lot more to talk about. To do that, we have to go talk about SmackDown Live.
Well, it's all set. It's all set. KO and Shane. We're going to have it. We're getting it. KO and Shane at SummerSlam. Plus, we're now also getting a match versus Roman with Shane's goons everywhere.
That's what we had.
That's what we had that night, right?
That's what we had on SmackDown, yes.
So in order to set all of that up and give you a taste of what you've got to look forward to, we had Elias as the guest timekeeper, Shane himself as the guest ring announcer, and Drew McIntyre in the black and white guest refereeing a match between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack here.
So first of all, you have Shane coming out at the top to accept Kevin Owens' challenge at SummerSlam, but then put him in a match with Roman where he's obviously stacked the odds.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing really to talk about here, Nick, is that Kevin Owens is absolutely getting the Austin treatment here. The way that he's blatantly, opposing authority, the fact that he's using the stunner, and the fact at the end of the Roman KO match, obviously everything went to crap. They tossed Drew out the side, and then all kinds of shenanigans, bunch of spears, bunch of stunners, crowd popping hard, and Kevin Owens kind of bumbling his speech at the end of this, but basically doing like a Stone Cold-esque speech where he's like, I'm going to kick his ass at SummerSlam, essentially. Yeah. Is it too on the nose? Is this too... Vince on the call today said, I don't want to go to the Attitude Era, but here we are recycling this very blatantly. Is it too blatant of a recycling of this trope?
I don't know, because you'd have to look at the demographics of the audience of today, the 2019 WWE viewership. I would almost guess that we're getting to a point where we might be getting over the line where the people that watch today weren't around or didn't watch during the Attitude Era. It's only pretty much going to be the parents in the older generation, such as ourselves and older, that lived through that in our teenage formative years, right? So I'm not sure if it matters or if they look. If you ask somebody why they remade RoboCop for like the third time, they'll say, "Well, we're making it for this generation because they haven't seen the old RoboCop." That's what I equate this to. Is that this generation doesn't know and didn't live through the 5-year period of Stone Cold.
But the thing is, there's a difference between the RoboCop remake and the Total Recall remake and all the other, kind of just quick cash-in remakes and remakes that are actually good. John Carpenter's The Thing, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Me too.
Was a remake. So I don't have anything against remakes or rehashes as a principle. I think that if done correctly, you can actually find new things that are relevant to the modern era. The Hills Have Eyes remake was a great example of one where the original just doesn't have the punch anymore, and it redid it and made a great movie. Yeah. I think you can take characters in wrestling and rehash them and have them be good but new and relevant. The problem with something like Stone Cold was that it was just so intrinsically tied to him, to who he was as a performer. And with wrestlers, that actually is the case a lot, where it's so tied to them as performers that to try and recapture that lightning in a bottle is freaking impossible. No matter how many of the little trappings you throw on them, it's not going to work in the same way. And unless they let Kevin Owens kind of forge his own path with this, a la Becky Lynch, where people were like, oh, she's going to become Steve Austin again, like same kind of thing. And she did her own thing. And we'll see how that ends up coming out of the oven, because I think they're at a bit of a dead spot right now with her. But I feel like you have to let him evolve this on his own. Give him some of the pieces and then let him go his own direction. Because, in some ways you could say that even Stone Cold was based on some aspects of the past, and he just put them all together into his own animal. So, but I worry with the amount of control that WWE exerts over its superstars these days, if Kevin's going to be able to put his own stamp on this kind of thing enough. Yeah, I guess, if that makes sense.
It does.
So,
I hear your point. And remaking a Stone Cold archetype, molding Kevin Owens into something like that with a little bit of original flair to it, no pun intended, would be a good thing. And I think that might be what they're trying to do. But if you give him the same finishing move, he does a lot of the same interrupting anti-authority tactics. Yeah, you're just trying to remake Stone Cold look like Kevin Owens. And there's a line there, and they haven't crossed it quite yet, but it's starting to feel that way.
Well, he hasn't started drinking beer and flipping birds to the audience yet, so we may still have time for them to change this. One more aspect of this, though, I wanted to point out. Is this, because people were saying we're sick of Shane. We don't want to see any more Shane. And Kevin Owens even saying you're giving yourself so much TV time. Is this just, we're getting the same thing. We're getting more Shane all the time, but it's got a different paint job on it and a little bit of fourth wall breaking with him saying you're on TV all the time. Like, is this just, they're saying, well, yeah, we know we're putting Shane on TV too much. By the way, here's some more Shane, only now we're going to point out that he's on TV too much. Is that all this is?
I don't know. I mean, every single person that's come through, I mean, how many times have they done this anti-authority thing? You know, they did it with The Shield. They've done it with Roman. They did it with Daniel Bryan. I mean, it's not so much about what they're doing with Kevin Owens. It's just this thing that they won't let go of, that they constantly have to do over and over and over again. That's what it feels like to me. I don't fault
really
anything they're doing with Kevin Owens here. I think it's brilliant. I love it. Be that tweener that's neither good nor bad, just fine. But it's not anything new. They've been doing this since Stone Cold, even before that, frankly.
Well, yes. Unfortunately, they're having an authority figure here that's not engaging the way that perhaps they want to. I personally find Shane entertaining, but I can see why a lot of people are really not into this.
Yeah, the entire crowd at SmackDown chanting "You can't wrestle" at the top of the show.
Oh, come on. That's heat. They used to do that to John Cena, too. They probably all bet on The Miz to win at WrestleMania too, Nick. That's the only thing I can think. So, all right. Next up, Kofi Kingston. I'm sure it does. Next up, Kofi Kingston said he was going to reveal who his opponent at SummerSlam was going to be, and then he was going to have a match with Samoa Joe. All right, cool. I'm interested. And he revealed that his opponent at SummerSlam will be none other than Randall Kenneth Kennedy Kamala Orton. Oh, hello. We kind of saw this coming. We saw this coming down the pike. But now that it's official, Nick, and the fact that Kofi said, yes, this is because of you derailing my career in 2009 because I beat your ass in Madison Square Garden. Beat you. Well, he didn't beat him, but he beat him up at Madison Square Garden. And then you derailed my career, which, getting into the backstage politics-y thing.
Yeah.
Are you now psyched for this? Is this going to be like a good feud for Kofi here? Do you feel like this the logical progression for him?
I wasn't into this until Randy just absolutely destroyed him in the promo. Basically saying your entire 11-year fantasy ride that you're on right now, I've gotten to where I am by being Randy Orton. Yeah, so I didn't have some fake Jamaican accent. I wasn't wearing funny clothes. I wasn't doing crazy high flyer stuff. I was just being Randy Orton. I love that. He's the legend killer. He's the 14-timer. The interesting thing that I see here is we're looking at Flair with 17, Cena with 16, Randy with 14. Are we looking at another potential here where they're going to put another couple of title reigns on Randy Orton and then he gets into that echelon?
I don't think Randy should win this feud. I think this has to be the crown jewel in, pardon the pun, in Kofi's reign here. I mean, this has to be the one where he puts the demons of his past to rest. I think that's the story here. If you give it to Randy, it undercuts that. Unless you're planning on giving it back to Kofi as a redemption angle. But even then, I don't know. Does Randy need another title? I don't think he does. I think Kofi needs this more than Randy does at this point. I think they need the redemption.
I'm going to repeat what I've said already on previous episodes of this show and say the Kofi thing is kind of wearing on me a little bit.
Oh, come on.
I'm ready to move on.
Oh, your attention span like a gnat.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Or like, I don't know, the WWE Universe.
What was that? A touche. I love this. I still love Kofi's reign as champ. I love the fact that the New Day was on commentary most of the night and they were killing it, wildly entertaining. You had Tom Phillips and David Otunga, David Otunga made me yearn for Byron Saxton. That's how bad he was. And New Day was saving the whole thing. So no, I'm still very high on New Day. I'm very high on Kofi Kingston still, and I'm looking forward to this feud. I think it's the logical next step for his reign.
New Day singing "Sexy Boy" might be my favorite thing of the week, by the way.
They did a lot of really great stuff on commentary. Yeah. We had a match that surprised the heck out of me, the results. Ember versus Charlotte. And Ember won. Ember Moon beat Charlotte. Not clean. She gave her a roll-up when Becky came out and distracted her. But then she beat down both Bayley and Charlotte in the middle of the ring and looked strong going into SummerSlam, which, of course, means she's going to lose. But that doesn't matter. She looked good here for a moment. And Charlotte then cut a promo backstage saying that she was going to be at SummerSlam somehow. She's going to prove that she's the most important women's wrestler ever, something along those lines. That being said, two things here, Nick. One, good look for Ember. We happy about this? Like, did she need to get over on Charlotte a little bit more here, or is this okay?
No, this is okay. Get the one sneaky win in. We've been saying this about Ruby and Ember for almost a year now.
Yep.
Had Ruby not got hurt, I'd be saying the same thing, and hopefully she'd be getting the same kind of rub, and she'd be in this picture, and it'd be maybe a little bit more dynamic than, I don't know, trying to insert Natty into another SummerSlam feud. But
I think that Ember and Bayley put on a good match. I'm looking forward to that.
I do too. I'm looking forward to that match. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So good. Hooray. Awesome. Number 2, Trish Stratus versus Charlotte. Trish Stratus versus Charlotte is your SummerSlam match. It is official.
Desperate.
You call that desperate?
Yeah.
Aren't you glad? Because I thought Charlotte was going to get herself inserted into the Ember Moon Bayley match. That's what I thought we were going to see.
Is it going to be on the pre-show, or are we going to lose another title match to the pre-show for Trish Stratus and Charlotte Flair, probably ending up in the main event? Come on, guys.
That's not even the main event, but it's going to be a big match. They know that Charlotte is probably their most important female wrestler right now. Sorry, hate to say it, she is. And Trish Stratus is one of the most important women in WWE history. They're going for the nostalgia stuff these days. To me, it makes perfect sense. That's a money match. Trish Stratus, Charlotte, that is a money match. Money. And I'm not talking about money as in, like, I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be a technical wizardry masterpiece of a match. I think it's going to make money. People are going to want to see it. It's going to be an event. So from that standpoint, I get it. And it makes more sense than having Charlotte inserted into the Bayley and Ember Moon match.
Sure.
So
I'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it there. Finn Balor came out to talk about the fact that he was attacked by the Fiend last week. And he basically said, well, I'd like to have a shot of that boy, or Bray Wyatt, whatever he is this week. And Bray showed up on the Titantron in his Firefly Funhouse Mr. Rogers gimmick.
Yowie wowie.
Yowie wowie. If this is how they're going to run this character, where the Fiend just attacks the crap out of people in the ring, shuts down lights, and is just genuinely scary, and then Bray just cuts promos in the Firefly Funhouse, I like this. We were saying, what are they going to do when he actually has to wrestle? Or cut promos or anything. If this is it, okay, I'm cool.
Does this wear you down after a while, though? Do we get back to Woken Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt cutting promos against each other before they ultimately joined up, going back and forth with the glass shattering on the Titantron?
They're going to have to get creative with it at some point, yeah, I agree. But for right now, it's off to a good start. Yeah, it's off to a good start. That's all I can ask. All I can ask is that they not screw things up week to week.
The only thing that matters here is, does this end in the Fiend versus the Demon at SummerSlam?
Is it Demon or Man Finn? Because that was the thing, is that Bray said, I like you, Finn, but the Fiend doesn't. So, yes, you have a match at SummerSlam. Do we get Demon Finn versus the Fiend, or is it Man Finn getting murdered by the Fiend? I say the second, because they're still advertising Finn as Finn, and they always advertise the Demon these days. And Finn is taking 2 months off on a sabbatical hiatus, probably going to go get married. So this would be a great way to write him off, as having to be murdered by the Fiend at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Boom.
I'm in. And it
boom. Done.
Puts the hell over Bray Wyatt. It just blows him up.
Well, yeah, and then you have a couple of months of Bray being able to run roughshod over everyone else, and then Finn can come back, and we can have the Demon versus the Fiend and actually build it. Yeah. And if you're going to have the Demon take his first loss to the Fiend, then you can give it that build that it deserves, and not just try to hot shot it. So
sure.
Anytime that they want to, I pray that they don't suddenly go, screw it, we'll do the Demon right now, because they could up until the night before, they could suddenly spring that on us. But please, just don't do that. No, WWE, no.
Bad,
down.
Bad, baby, bad.
Sit, stay. We had Nakamura came out to face Apollo Crews. This was a fun match, entertaining match. Made more so with the fact that the New Day made this so exciting. The New Day made this match exciting to me. With them just marking out over everything. It was fantastic. But, of course, as you would expect, Nakamura did beat Apollo Crews and then beat him down outside the ring. They're making Nakamura look like a genuine contender, making him look vicious again. What do you think is their end goal for him? Who's he going to face? What babyface is out there to face Nakamura? Ali, who cut another promo this week, says he needs to write his name. Are they building up Nakamura for the returning Ali?
I think so. Honestly, I think so. I hadn't really put that together because we got another one of these Ali promos this week, but that was my first thought. Either that or where the hell is Rusev? Where is Rusev in this whole picture, if at all?
Who?
Exactly. Where's he been?
I have no idea who you're talking about.
The Bulgarian brute, Rusev.
No, never heard of him.
Never heard of him?
Nope.
No? Okay.
No. Yeah, short attention span.
Was given the key to the city from Bulgaria's hometown. None of that? No? Okay.
No. Short attention span, Nick. I don't remember anything for last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's probably Ali.
Weeks. Probably Ali. Looking forward to that. Ali versus Nakamura is a match I will watch on the pre-show. We also had Sonya Deville and Mandy were backstage, and this segment was supposed to be them saying, hey, guess what? We talked to Shane and buried the Iconics to him, so he gave us a match next week where if we win it, we get title shots. Except they let them do it live, and Mandy bungled her line saying, next week we will get a title shot, and if we win, we will get a title shot.
Oops.
This is why they script them. When everyone who's like, why do they script the superstars? Why don't they let them just speak? This is why. I mean, Nick, it makes me wonder, should they perhaps have some place these superstars could go to actually work on getting better at promos? Someplace they could go and develop, they can
figure out how to perform better.
A center where they could go perform.
Yeah.
And work on this. Yeah. Isn't there something? Maybe they could do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe someone got called up a little bit too early because of certain attributes and physical traits.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the difference between going through the territory system and learning how to cut promos and just being taught quickly.
And not being hired and brought to a show if you couldn't do it. Right?
Right. Yeah. If you were a gorgeous blonde. That being said, we tease. I actually have a lot of I got a lot of love for Mandy and Sonya here. I wonder if however they're just going to basically be a warm-up act for Kabuki Warriors on their next feud. Because I feel like right now it's kind of a train. We're on the rails, and at some point the Kabuki Warriors, I hate saying that name, are going to eventually take the titles off of the Iconics. We have to do something with the Iconics first. They've got to have some defenses, and that's what DeVille and Rose are here for.
Yep.
Is that how you feel as well?
I agree. That's the case. Yep. That's what's going to happen.
There you go. So 2 things about SmackDown before we move on. 2 things that we heard about afterwards. One was that Bischoff, this was Eric Bischoff's first SmackDown working as the executive director, and that apparently most of the time was spent working with the creative guys. We thought Bischoff was just going to be business, and here he was doing most of his work with creative. That being said, Vince didn't like the script and came in at 4 p.m. before this show and rewrote the whole show.
Oh, man. Why is he even there? I bet he lost his mind. Probably privately in a room by himself. But that is mind-numbing. Especially when you work at that kind of an executive level. And I know this from experience too, but I mean, you get somebody that just comes in and overrides everything you do and micromanages everything. It's the most mind-numbing, just mind-boggling thing. It drives you insane. It's no confidence, no trust, no belief in your abilities. Why is he there? Why are you paying him probably in excess of $500,000 a year?
That being said, we don't know if Bischoff delivered a script that he had worked on and Vince just nixed it, or if Bischoff was there, because everyone did sound a lot more breezy on the show. They did sound a lot more natural for the most part. I think there were some little tweaks to the format, allowing New Day to be on commentary, not just for one match, but for whole segments at a time, because Byron Saxton was out because his father passed away? Father passed away. Condolences, Byron.
Yeah.
And Corey was out, I don't know. But we didn't see Carmella.
He was on the movie set.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We didn't see Carmella either, so I just figured. So there's a lot of aspects of the show, like little creative tweaks that I liked a lot. So we don't have any evidence that it was like Bischoff delivered a script and Vince just micromanaged him. But that being said, just two little factors I thought were interesting.
Yeah.
Were interesting. Vince is still rewriting shows at the last minute, and Bischoff is working with creative and not just with business. So
yes,
very interesting. But lots of other interesting things to talk about, Nick. We can't dawdle. We got to go talk about the wide world of wrestling.
Well, hold on to your butts, folks. We got a lot to cover here in the wide world of wrestling. Starting as we always do with NXT, the breakout tournament continues into the next round. We got the reemergence of Garza Dong.
Reemergence. Oh, God.
This week, Jordan Miles in the second round of the breakout tournament. Jordan Miles faced off against Angel Garza.
Hello.
Garza. I'm here to date your sister.
I'm here for your women and your tortillas. Yes. I have come a long way.
Men should not have wrestling trunks cut that high. Sorry. It makes you just not want to look at it.
Nicholas, perhaps you are not aware, but they are not cut this way. They just fell off this way. I put them on. This is how they fit. They want to be this way. They have no choice.
We got Irish and Scottish, and apparently now we have Latino. So congratulations.
Hello. This is not Latino. This is Garza. Only Garza. Only Garza may speak this way. Yes. Hello, ladies.
Look, did we see anything stand out from these guys that we didn't already know from the first round?
No, they're both awesome.
They're both fantastic. Yes,
both awesome. This was a ton of fun. Both these guys are superstars, man. Jesus, this might have been my favorite match of the tournament so far. And I say that at every match, but this was another great match. I can't wait to see where these guys go. Yeah, that's it. I've got nothing else to say. It was awesome. I liked how they also sort of smoothly transitioned after Miles did win ACH. I'm telling you, ACH going all the way. Jordan Miles picked up the win here, going to the finals. Shane Thorne came out and said, why are we even having this tournament when they already have me, Shane Thorne, newly repackaged from the Mighty? So, yeah, it looks like Shane Thorne's back. Curious what they're going to do with him, because I'm not seeing a whole lot of holes in the landscape of NXT right now for him to fit into.
Yeah.
So curious to see what they do with him. Bianca Belair pretty much all but squashed Xia Li and looked like an absolute beast doing it. Did a handspring. What even though with a handspring?
It was a vertical press leading to like a suplex or something, and then she just started doing squats with her in a vertical press.
Well, that too. Yeah, she had a bunch
Lord.
of strength spots, agility spots. She's monstrous. Another monster. Is it fair, though, to have squashed Xia Li at this point, or is it that Xia Li is established enough that Bianca looks that much stronger for having squashed her? Where are you at with how dominant Bianca Belair was in this match?
I think there's a certain accountability of people having to keep up with all the goings-on of NXT at this point. So if you had not seen it, Xia Li was one of the top performers from the NXT Combine a few weeks ago. She was one of the strongest there. She outlifted Bianca Belair. So, yes, if you're following along, if you're keeping up with scores, I think it was maybe they should have done a better job setting it up on commentary. Maybe it was a post-combine match, but it might have, as they pre-record a lot of NXT shows, this feels like it might have come out right after the combine. So having these two in a match, I think they could have done a better job on commentary of setting something like that up to give it some kind of weight. But it could be Bianca Belair getting one back from what she lost in the combine competition.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm shooting there, but who knows?
Who knows? Either way, I like it. I like Bianca looking strong. I think she's another one she needs to be facing Becky, frankly. Mia Yim looking smart going into her feud with Shayna Baszler. She attacked another one of Shayna's buddies backstage, took out Jessamine Duke at the lockers. Got a little bit of like Dokes from Dexter of this, man. Surprise, mother effer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. She jumped out from behind a locker, slammed her at the locker door. Good stuff. I like that Mia's looking like a smart, vicious babyface facing off against Shayna. That's a great build for it. Probably the best segment, not match, but best segment of the night. Velveteen Dream coming out looking like $1 million, telling Roderick Strong he just doesn't have what it takes to be in the ring with the Velveteen Dream. Doesn't have the presence per se, Nick, and I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Not a fan
I still want to see him get pushed out, laid out on a couch every week. That just needs to be his thing.
So yes, you're not a fan of the charismatic aspects of Roderick Strong's wrestling game. So Velveteen Dream pointed that out for you.
Yep.
But then right as they were about to get into it, who should come out but Pete Dunne?
I popped hard.
Pete Dunne.
I kind of lost my shit. I'm going to be honest with you. I popped harder than I did for most of the nostalgia segments on Monday Night Raw.
I'm not. Yeah, I was really happy with this too, given the history between Dream and Dunne as well. To get a Velveteen Dream
and
Pete
Strong
Dunne,
and Pete
and
Dunne.
Roderick Strong triple threat match for the North American Championship at TakeOver Toronto. Take my money. Take all of my money. It looks like Pete Dunne is back for good on NXT. Very psyched about that. Io Shirai was having a match with Kacy Catanzaro. It was very quickly interrupted by Candice LeRae. We had a quick beatdown, pull apart. I thought this was rushed, Nick. Do we need more of this kind of build, or are they building this a little bit too quickly for you?
Well, first comment on they seem to be making Io's Tron and entrance a little bit more longer drawn out and grandiose. A lot of it was in Japanese, and then it was like it would blur and come back up. I loved it. I liked that. Continue with the dark, aura around Io Shirai. Just murder, death, kill Io Shirai. I'm all in on the Candice LeRae thing. Feels, I think I said last week. Was it last week's episode? That was supposed to be Kairi Sane. It feels like it still should be, and I think that's what's making it awkward.
She ain't doing much. Bring her back down. Bring her back down. Why not?
Exactly.
But I love Candice, though.
Asuka,
you sons of... There's someone Becky could be feuding with and should be feuding with.
Not Natalya.
Triggered. All right, Nick, we're getting away from this. Let's get back and talk about the match that you and I both were looking forward to since last week. Damian Priest versus Keith Lee. Put it in my eye holes. So good. Inject it straight into my veins.
For the record, for those listening on audio, that was me slapping my arm. I promise.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, this match was amazing. I unfortunately was dying to hear Damian Priest come out and cut a promo just so we could hear that voice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Keith Lee.
Yes, Keith Lee, I'm here to swallow your soul. God.
I don't care how big you are. But this match was awesome. Basically, two big boys. Both these guys are so big that big ass 6'6", 6'7", Damian Priest was like the little guy in this match. And he had to act like the little guy.
And he suplexed Keith Lee. Keith Lee's 400 pounds.
Well, dude, Damian Priest did a tope con hilo, and Keith Lee caught him.
Yeah. He was a little luchador.
Like he's a child. Are you kidding me? Oh, yeah, this was fantastic. Wonderful match. Go check it out. But Keith Lee did lose. What is the end game for Keith Lee? Like, I didn't really do what I want to do my first year, and he's on a losing streak. What's the end game here? Like a redemption angle? Is he going to turn heel? What's the idea with Keith Lee here?
Nope. I think he gets it back with Dijak. I think we're sitting around waiting. We're treading water for Dijak to get back because
he's back at house shows.
I know that Keith Lee Dijak element. There was some uncertainty about those two's health there for a while. Dijak had to go heal up. Keith was out for a couple of weeks, but those two getting back, resuming that feud, firing that thing back up, all in. Yep. All in.
Yeah, totally. I'm loving the stuff that we're seeing for the future of NXT here with Pete Dunne coming over here, likely permanently until they call him up, which I don't think will be too long. He's been rumored to go to the main roster for a while. Io Shirai now heel. I'm loving the fact that's the case. Bianca Belair looking really strong. They're doing a lot of things on NXT to set up for the next phase, and I'm liking it. But this current phase, it's still going, and it looks like the climax of one of the major angles will be Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole in a best-of-3 falls match again, except this time there's stipulations, and they picked their stipulations this week. Johnny Gargano, for his fall, wants it to be a street fight because he's so good at street fights. And Adam Cole wanted to just have a straight-up wrestling match, which makes sense because he's beaten Johnny in a wrestling match.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. We all, of course, know that they're going to 3.
I'm wondering of the implications of Champion's Advantage if you're in a 2 out of 3 falls with these kinds of stipulations like this.
Well, what's dumb is that Johnny picks a street fight. That's the whole Undisputed Era. They're going to be there. They have a match with Street Profits.
Yeah.
And Roderick Strong's got a match with Velveteen Dream. Like, They're all going to be there. They're all going to be able to come out and beat you up like they did last time. What do you think? Another dumb babyface move right here, Johnny. Come on. You're supposed to be Johnny Wrestling. You should be better than this.
You're Johnny Takeover. Come on, man. Anyway, I was a little bit put off by the wrestling match until I really thought about how smart and clever it really was, because you throw things back into the dynamics of the match, like countouts, champion's advantage, all of that stuff. So the more I thought about it, I went, oh, okay, that's pretty slick. I see what he did there. It took me a minute, though.
Yeah. I'm curious to see where this goes. I think it's going to be another amazing freaking match. I just want to know what Regal's stipulation will be when they finally get to that third fall.
Right.
Because you know they will.
Of course they will.
They will. Nick, we got to go and talk about 205 Live. But before we do, really quickly, we did kind of screw up. I jumped the gun, and we missed a segment on SmackDown. I want to touch on it really quickly. Dolph and Shawn Michaels on Miz TV.
Oh, yeah.
We totally.
We just completely breezed over that.
Quick SmackDown. Back to SmackDown real quick, Nick. Over on SmackDown, yes, Shawn Michaels was being interviewed on Miz TV. Dolph Ziggler came out to confront them, and I thought this was fantastic. Some people didn't. I love the fact that Shawn just got right in Dolph's face and said, "You're a second-rate Shawn Michaels, and that's been your entire career. You ain't never done nothing." And Miz got in Dolph's face afterwards, said, "Do something," and Dolph wouldn't. Do something.
We're
Dolph
tired
wouldn't.
of hearing you talk. We're tired of saying it should have been you.
Yep.
Do something.
Yep. Do something. And this was, to me, I was sitting here going, thank you. Yes. Yes.
Face Miz is amazing, by the way. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm really,
I love it.
As much as I loved heel Miz as that Intercontinental Champion run, I am really digging Face Miz.
Yeah, absolutely. When he's given a chance like this, to be a little aggressive, get in people's faces. So then let's see. Ziggler went to hit Michaels, ended up knocking out Miz. Shawn then, how did it work? Ziggler tried to kick Michaels. Anyway, it would all end up with Michaels laid out, Miz staring down Dolph checking his jaw going up the ramp. Are we seeing a triple threat here? Or is this just going to be Miz and Ziggler again? Which I'm fine with. I like Miz Ziggler feuds, but
me too. But I'm more curious: is Shawn Michaels getting back in the ring?
If it was Shawn Michaels, Miz, and Ziggler in a triple threat, you have my attention.
Yeah.
It's
been rumored he's wanting to wrestle again.
Well, because he feels like he embarrassed himself in Australia and Saudi Arabia, which he did, and which he mentioned in this segment when they kind of started breaking down the fourth wall, that he felt like he let himself down, to let the fans down, which he did. I feel let down, Shawn. Sorry. But so if he can get back and redeem himself, and he can do it with these guys, do it. Prove it. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
Make it so.
Make it so. All right, Nick, moving on to 205 Live. We mentioned this week, it's a great episode. You got three really good things this week. Drake Maverick is stepping down as GM of 205 Live, and his last act is to make his match with Mike Kanellis next week an unsanctioned match where he'll be facing off against Jon Moxley and Joey Janela. Never mind. Sorry. No, an unsanctioned match on 205 Live versus Mike Kanellis. That'll be happening next week. Should be fun.
Yeah.
We also had Humberto Carrillo and Raul Mendoza.
Hello.
Raul Mendoza, the guy we've been talking about on NXT being amazing. He got called up. He's teaming with Humberto Carrillo. They had a match against Lucha House Party, represented by Gran Metalik and Kalisto. It was hot fire. And it was just like a little taste of what these guys can do luchador-wise.
Carrillo and Mendoza was a tag team I never knew I needed. It was so good.
Carrillo's debut was with Mendoza back in NXT.
Right.
His first match was a tag with Mendoza. So, yeah, give me more of this. I love me some lucha. All these guys are top level. Yeah. You had Oney Lorcan murder poor Tony Isner.
Yeah, we're going to need to press attempted murder charges on Oney Lorcan here. Jesus Christ. He nearly took his head off with those corner uppercuts. Holy smokes. If you guys have not watched 205 Live the last couple of weeks, Oney Lorcan's been on a tear.
He's a murderer. And that's great.
He was just absolute ruthless this week.
Keeping our boy looking strong. Yes. And then we had Drew Gulak versus a debuting Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Kill shot.
Shane Strickland. He is now officially on 205 Live. We were worried when he lost in the first round of the breakout tournament, but as we suspected, he's going to be just fine.
Oh, yeah. He got video packages. He's got all kinds of stuff going for him already.
Yes.
Strap the rockets to Shane Strickland. Sorry,
and he may
Isaiah
have
Scott.
lost. He may have
keep it
lost to
straight.
Gulak here, but they did sell it like, student versus his teacher. So he's going to have like a nice little build for this. We were wondering who they were going to have to face Gulak. You've got Chad Gable. You've got Swerve Scott. There's rumors that Daniel Bryan might be heading to 205 Live. We thought 205 Live was dying. They may have some plans for 205 Live.
I think the show itself might get absorbed, but the cruiserweight division's not going anywhere. I think that having that absorbed into the main show, especially when they split off to Fox, could be a really good thing. And that was rumored to be one of the things that Heyman and Bischoff both are in agreement on. So I'm not opposed to that at all. Give them some more limelight. Let's have some actual crew. Let's have another title back into the main event picture. I'm all down for that. That's not the European Championship.
As we said, they might do like a live show opposite of AEW, and that might be with Daniel Bryan and the Cruiserweight division and a bunch of NXT guys. So they might have plans for that coming up. Nick, the G1.
I'm a couple days behind.
New Japan.
I'm a couple days behind.
Japan.
This is all spoilery for me, by the way. So, but I'm riding it with you guys.
Sorry, bud.
I'm up through like July 15th, 16th, maybe.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll make you a deal here, Nick. I won't give you the results of matches. I'll just tell you what the point standings are, and I'll just tell you some of the.
Because I know what the matches are.
All right. Well,
just do it. Let's just do our thing.
It won't be too specific, but suffice it to say, there have been some more fantastic matches. And there have some of the best of the tournament so far.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny because overall this tournament, I don't feel like we've had as many really, really good matches, but we've had very few bad matches. They've all been really solid, and some of them, actually, for the most part, have been really good. But I think we've only had like one or two just absolutely mind-blowing matches so far. And both of them happened in this last week of the shows. On night 5, we had Ibushi versus Ospreay, which was lights out. On let's see, on night 6 we finally had Tomohiro Ishii versus Jon Moxley, and I posted this in the Facebook discussion group just because people needed to see it. This is Jon Moxley. This is Dean Ambrose's best match I've ever seen him have. Full stop. And
they were in the Kurokan Gymnasium. Is that where this one was? But it was a smaller venue.
Kurokan Hall.
Yeah.
But
so they were out in the
history.
crowd, but exactly. Huge history with it, but it's a smaller venue, so they were out in the crowd throwing each other around. Amazing match between these two.
Yeah. I could watch this over and over and over again. The next night on night 7, the main event was Okada versus Ospreay, which is great history there to start with, but then they just put on an absolute clinic. This was lights out. Meltzer gave it 5.75 stars. I don't think it's that good. It's not that good.
You're talking Omega Okada territory there, man.
Some of their sequences, though, were on that level. I will absolutely say that. Obviously, it's his rating system's completely subjective. You can think what you can think. But if he says it's good, it's probably a good match. It was a good match. It was a freaking amazing match. Some of the stuff these guys were doing, the story that was told there, kind of Okada being the cocky older brother, and Ospreay just needing to finally step out of his shadow. It was awesome. And then this one, finally, Okada had to get serious with Ospreay because Ospreay finally was able to take him there. They protected Ospreay's finisher, the Stormbreaker. Mm-hmm. He did not hit that on Okada, so they protected that. This was an absolutely outstanding match. Definitely one of the ones you have to watch of the G1 this year. And then also last night, Ishii versus Naito. Another great match. So really good stuff so far. Currently in A block, tied at the top, Kenta and Kazuchika Okada.
They're running away with it.
Running away with it. It's going to be between one of those two guys. It's going to be Okada. Mm-hmm. And everyone else is, let's see, Lance Archer, Evil, Tanahashi, Ibushi. They're all at 4. Ospreay, Sonata, Zack Sabre Jr., and Fale all with 2. So A block is pretty much going to be Kenta or Okada at this point, barring some major thing happening. B block, right now, looks like Jon Moxley's running away with it with 8 points, has not lost yet. Juice Robinson's only lost once. He has 6 points. And then everyone else is down with 4. Tomohiro Ishii, Shingo Takagi, Toru Yano, Taichi, and Tetsuya Naito, with Jeff Cobb, Hiroki Goto, and Jay White all following up at the end with only 2 points. I guess the G1 does not stand for Goto 1, Hiroki Goto. Sorry, buddy. Once again, you're here to eat pins.
All right, so obvious question. Is this going to end up in Okada versus Moxley in your eyes? I mean, we're a little past the halfway point here. We're getting into the back half of the crazy. The next couple of weeks are going to be fraught with fantasy booking and bracketology. But A block is so run away from, there's not even much to discuss there. B block is interesting, though, because has Juice faced any of the more harder matchups at this point? Is that how he's gotten to 6 points? Because I haven't gotten the impression from Juice that he's had that big of a tournament.
Let's see. I'm consulting my notes.
Okay.
So far, Juice has faced. He hasn't faced Moxley yet. He has not faced Ishii, I don't believe.
Right.
He's has not faced Naito. Yeah, he's got an uphill battle here.
Yeah, he's got 6 points, and it's nice to see him in second place right behind Moxley. Them being in the final of B block is also very interesting, given their history around the U.S. Championship. But he hasn't had like the big 3 or 4 matches yet. He's had, I don't want to say the easy ones, but he hasn't had the big matchups yet. So with Moxley, Ishii, and Naito,
he's got it. Yeah, and White. So he's got a big hill to climb still. Whereas Naito still has to face Jeff Cobb, who will lay down for him. He has to face Juice. He's got to face. Well, Shingo's going to be tough for him, but I think Shingo will lay down for the leader of LIJ. I don't think they're going to create something there.
Yeah.
But, right now, honestly, Okada versus Moxley, Okada wins. That's my prediction right now.
And he picks his opponent for Wrestle Kingdom.
I know it's the obvious look for it right now. This might be a year where it's just a simple G1. There's not a whole lot of crazy bracketology at the end. It just might be that way.
Damn it.
Hate to say it. Well, that's fine with me. They could be really exciting. If that is the case.
I don't know how much. I mean, as good as Okada is, and as long as he's been up there, I just don't know how much more I can hear. Rainmaker! It's starting to I hear it in my sleep now.
When you're that damn good,
right?
I just don't care.
All right, man. Well, as we get into this weekend, we get into some more G1. Definitely be checking those out. But it is now time for us to get into our listener questions.
Yes.
Oh, we love this part of the show. Guys, so if you would like to get in on this, the way you get your question answered right here on the show every single week, sign up for that $5 tier over at patreon.com/BWO. We get you a question post in every single week and answer them right here on the show. Starting off this week with Joshua. Reports came out this past week about WWE using main roster stars on NXT to rival AEW programming this fall. Would this be a worse thing to happen for AEW or NXT, since I'm guessing Vince would involve himself more in main roster stars if main roster stars were working the show?
Yeah, I guess we just mentioned this. One of the main roster stars that's rumored to be on NXT is going to be Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Or the new show that they put. This is the thing. It may just be a whole different show. We may still have NXT, which is Triple H's little baby over here, and it just may be a whole different show on FS1. So they may call it something completely different too. You know what I mean? It might just be a completely brand new show, and it just might be a third brand.
Yeah, my hunch is that they're going to not absorb cruiserweight stuff into the main roster. It's going to be into NXT. And I think absorbing that talent back into NXT could make for a much more interesting show to take to FS1.
Well, and one thing that's been speculated for a while, because there has been a bit of a divide between the upper echelon NXT talent, who are all indie stars, and the developmental people, is why not have an NXT show that's primarily developmental and another show that's primarily these indie stars that just aren't ready for main roster or smaller or whatever. They're not Vince's typical guys.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, if that's what they want to do, honestly, I don't think it's going to be bad for NXT if they do create two different shows. If they create one show, I could see there being issues because the current product on NXT is so freaking good. It would be a waste to have Vince meddling with it, if he even does, unless he just trusts Triple H to run it. Lots of variables here. But if it is a whole new show, I think we as the fans win, because then we have both AEW and this new show coming out. And in this era, it's not like if you don't watch it, you miss it, or you have to record it on a VHS tape. Going back to Monday Night Wars, it was VHS. Trust me, I still have a ton in my closet. It's more like, okay, we watch one and then we DVR the other one, or it's going to come out on Hulu. We watch it another time. It's just that much more good wrestling that's going to be out there.
Yeah. Yep.
So if they're as far as ratings are concerned, because that still will be an issue, I think TNT, last time I checked, is in more houses than FS1.
True.
Throwing that out there.
True.
I don't know how much of a threat it will be.
Yeah, I don't know if Vince would get into meddling much with NXT at this point. I think it's barely enough for him to be able to be a part of the main roster shows. I think him being a part of NXT is out of the realm of possibility in my eyes. Thank you very much, Joshua, for the question. Next up, we got Eric. Did the WWE miss a huge opportunity to turn Roman heel at the Raw reunion show on Monday?
No.
Roman ain't going heel.
Roman ain't going heel. He just came back from leukemia.
Yeah.
He's right now, he's as over as he's ever been. This is what Vince has wanted for years, is Roman to be this over. Oh, there's no way. No. He's not going heel.
Sorry, Eric.
He's not going heel, and I don't think it was an opportunity to. I think that the time to make Roman heel has passed. I think right now he has so much equity going right now, and so much goodwill behind him. And there's so many positive. WWE loves its to go out there and show to everybody how much it cares about people who have cancer and women who have breast cancer and all the other stuff that it does. This is an opportunity, like it was just gifted to them to have Roman Reigns, one of their number one guys, now be like, I'm one of you, and I'm going to go out there and do all these wonderful things. Yeah, no, there's no way they're turning him heel right now. It's like Cena with the Make-A-Wish. Like you can't turn him heel.
Right, exactly.
You just can't.
Yeah. No. Sorry, Eric. If that's what you wanted, not going to happen.
No.
Next up, we had Andy. Mr. Andy. After years of self-congratulations and back-patting and first ever women's this, that, and the other, what has happened to the women's division since Mania? The tag side is a joke. The SD Championship has been a sideshow to another story. No one on Raw is on Becky's level, and she's not the same since the Rumble. I agree with that, and we know why. And only Charlotte is the biggest star. How and why did they let this deteriorate so fast? Andy, you were joking about a bonus episode in chat. You just wrote one. That's a whole show right there.
I think, honestly, I think that Andy's being a bit more negative about the women's division than I actually feel like it is. I feel like they're actually doing a lot of stuff with it right now. The Alexa and Nikki stuff is kind of sidelined this week, but I feel like there's good stuff there. The salient point here is that there's no one really on Raw that's on Becky's level, and they haven't really done a good job of building up other women to be as big as the horsewomen, specifically Charlotte and Becky. Sasha's gone. Bayley, they haven't done a good job of establishing what she is anymore. And as he says, like, she was a bit of a sideshow to the Alexa and Nikki thing. That being said, I mean, this is nowhere near as bad as the tag division was before Mania. This is nowhere near as the women's division has been in the past. They're actually doing fairly well for WWE with these things. Could they be doing better? Absolutely. But I don't think that it's doom and gloom yet. I think that there's some tweaks that they need to make, but they're tweaks that we can see how they could do it theoretically and fix it. We're not sitting here going, oh my God, how do they get themselves out of this one? It's things where we can point and say, okay, well, maybe you could, have this. You could have bring some more women who you feel like they're on the level of Charlotte and Bayley. Like, I don't know, get Asuka out of a tag team and put her back in the main picture. Call up like Shayna from NXT to make her, she feels like a big deal. Things like that. Like we can see how they could change it. I think having Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville going for the tag titles is a good way to make the tag titles relevant again. And then, so I think that there are things, that demonstrable things that they can do that will lead to a better division, but I don't think it's that bad yet.
I'm going to give Will James a bonus because he is a patron. I'm going to give him a bonus question here because he asked it in chat, and I think it's relevant as a follow-up. Are we ready as an audience to admit that Ronda Rousey was a great talent for the women's division?
I said it like a week or two ago. Yes, absolutely. I think that historically we have to look at her 1 year as being probably one of the most incredible rookie years in wrestling. It's absolutely, it's mind-boggling to me. As much as people ragged on her for some of her promos, for being a little bit green, she was a freaking rookie. And the things she was able to pull off as a rookie are mind-boggling to me, having watched how many people come through. We talked earlier about, Mandy Rose bungled the line. How long did she spend in developmental? How long did she spend learning how to wrestle? Ronda came in and did it just like that.
She had Tough Enough and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, she had plenty of time.
Tons of time. And Ronda came in right off the bat and was as good as she was, and she immediately felt legitimate. You could put her against anybody, and she felt like a bigger deal. They are missing something like that right now in that women's division. Big time. Absolutely. Absolutely will. Yes.
I still blame this one right over here for screwing up the whole Ronda Rousey-Becky Lynch feud at Survivor Series.
She needs to come back and face Becky, because that would be a legit feud.
Sure. Let's pick up where we left off with that. Thanks, Will, for the follow-up. Thanks, Andy, for the question. Next up, Esme Standenbear.
Quick, but Nick, I'm sorry. I mean, Nia needs to come back and feud with Becky.
I agreed with that.
Okay, I thought you were okay. Making sure,
because there's nothing else going on the Raw Women's division right now.
When it comes to Nia things, I have to make sure that you're not like, oh yeah, Ronda should totally come back.
She comes out with a Braun Strowman medallion. I'll be even that with a big chain. That'd be fantastic.
She watches? Yay!
What?
She watches. If she comes out with a Braun Strowman medallion, you'll know.
It took me a second.
She's a fan of yours, just like you're a fan of hers.
Right.
What?
Andy, thank you for the question. Next up, Esme Standenbear. What's your take on the rumor that NXT would be moved to Fox Sports 1 on Wednesdays and merging with 205 Live to create a sort of super brand, keeping in mind that NXT is a developmental division? Do you think they're ready to go ahead to go head-to-head with AEW? I'm assuming she means on Wednesday nights. Yeah.
The last question first. Yes, they're absolutely. They were born ready. This is how they got to the modern era, by going head-to-head with people. So they're absolutely ready to go head-to-head with them. It's just a matter of what that show is going to be. I think we said that earlier with Joshua's question was, just a matter of what kind of show will it be. Are they going to take the current NXT show and just put that on FS1 only live with the 205 Live guys and a couple of like big stars, or are they going to make a whole new show? Whatever it is, I absolutely think that they're going to put something opposite AEW, and they're going to stack it.
Yeah.
They're going to stack it, and they're going to make it for the hardcore audience specifically. So they're going to basically go for exactly the kind of people that would want to watch AEW, and they're going to say, oh, you like AEW? Well, we know you also like all these indie stars and your NXT wrestling and your Daniel Bryan. How about that? What you going to do? So, I mean, it makes business sense to me, and that's some cold-blooded business right there. And I look forward to watching both shows.
I'm going to take a different approach on this. I'm not ready to pit them against each other yet. We are spoiled for choice. We get to watch both. I'm not ready to sit here and go, Sky Cake or Sky Pie. I'm not ready to make that yet. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of all of it. And I think that's the attitude that we should all take, rather than this kind of head-to-head kind of approach. It makes for good chatter over beers, things like that. Things on podcasts, right? But at the end of the day, damn right I'm going to be watching both of them, because I love it.
But what will you watch live? And that's the question. That's the one that gets the ratings.
AEW.
Okay. Well, what if they come out and they're
NXT's on the network? Assuming they stay on the network. If they go to Fox Sports 1, that makes that decision a little bit trickier.
That's what I'm saying. If they're live, like that's what they're saying, is like they're going to force you to choose between the whatever NXT, let's call it NXT right now, for NXT Live. We'll call it NXT Live.
Yep.
They're going to make you choose. Are you going to watch NXT Live, or are you going to watch AEW?
Am I going to watch Fox, or sorry, am I going to watch TNT, or am I going to watch FS1? Probably TNT. Probably AEW.
Right. Jungle Boy versus MJF, or are you going to watch Damian Priest versus Keith Lee?
Oh, God, don't do that to me.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
it's
man.
Like this is exactly my point, Nick, this is the kind of stuff they're going to do to you.
I'm not ready for this
is
yet.
Exactly what they're going to do to you.
I've got 2 months to figure out how to get my head around this. Damn
Jungle Boy versus MJF, that'll put butts in seats. God.
As long as Luchasaurus is there.
Of course, naturally. A boy always has to have his dinosaur.
He has a master's degree, Esme, thank you very much for the question. That's a good one. Good conversation to have. Next up, Will, your real question, Will. Should I be as surprised as I am that Moxley and Kenta are undefeated as new arrivals, and with Mox being part-time only. And could this all just be to put Okada or whoever beats them over that much more? And does that still bury some of the longtime talent that they're ultimately beating?
The great thing about New Japan is that it's really hard to ever say someone is buried if they get beaten once.
Yeah.
Like Goto right now is not looking good because he just has not won a lot. But at the same time, Goto's always a threat. Jay White hasn't won, but he's always a threat. He's won one, but you know what I mean. And that's kind of what I think is happening here, as far as, you know, if Okada beats Moxley or Kenta going out of this, which I think he will, frankly. I don't think it makes everyone else look less. It does make Okada look that much better, but it's freaking Okada. The guy didn't lose for like 2 years, you know. So that's what they've built Okada to be. He's the monster. He's the Brock Lesnar of New Japan that actually shows up and wrestles.
Wow, that's a good way to put it. Damn. Okay.
A little bit. I mean, that's not apples to apples, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
That's what they've made him out. They've made him out to be the best, and to beat him, you've got to be on your best night and just God tier in every way.
I'll put it this way: I haven't seen a bad match yet. I've watched every match up to the night with Ishii and Mox and then Ospreay and Okada. That's where I haven't seen a bad match yet.
Well, you haven't watched Goto versus Taichi yet, so
no, I haven't watched that one.
Just wait. Also, I thought Juice versus Cobb was kind of meh, but anyway, neither here nor there. The other question he asked was Kenta and Mox being this strong. Is that surprising? Kenta being this strong, no, that's not surprising to me because he's a legend in Japan. So he's got such cachet from Dragon Gate and Noah that makes complete sense that they would have him be this strong, especially if he's committed now to New Japan. And a lot of the hardcore old school New Japan audience is going to hate him right off the bat. And you look at his stuff with Tanahashi, we're going to see Kenta Tanahashi. That is a story I looked at and went, they're going to tell that story for the rest of the year. Like I'm actually going to say right now, probably Kenta Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom.
Wow.
Going to throw that. I'm just going to pitch that out there right now.
All right, I'm going to take you one step further then. Since you're already calling your shot and Okada's going to win the G1, who's he picking to face it for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom?
Naito, he loses. Naito gets both belts and finally redeems himself, and boom, big story.
Wow.
That just blow your mind there, buddy?
Yeah, in several different meta kind of ways. Just wow.
So that would be one story I could see being really cool going into Wrestle Kingdom. But Moxley, I am surprised Moxley's winning as much as he is. I'm very surprised by that. It shows how much of a big star they consider him to be. And frankly, rightfully so. He's the guy who's bringing in a ton of new subscribers and a ton of new views to New Japan. He has, I'll say it again, I've said it every week, he has by far and away the most watched clip on New Japan's YouTube page. Far and away the most watched clip. So they know he's a huge star. Here's the thing. He can also pull off feeling like he can come in and beat these guys who we've established at New Japan are hard-ass dudes. The match with Ishii, he showed he can go toe-to-toe with a guy who is as hard as Ishii is. Frankly, I think they have put they put the title on him the first night. I mean, New Japan was all in on Moxley from the beginning. So I'm a little surprised that Moxley's gone undefeated, but I'm not surprised that he's looking strong.
Yeah, no, me either. I don't know what to make of Moxley right now because I thought he was going to be wrestling in AEW, but I'm wondering if he's doing this well, they're not just going to be like, all right, cool, thanks for stopping by the G1 and dominating the whole B block. Okay, bye. Have fun at AEW. There's got to be more here if they're going to put this much rub on somebody in the biggest tournament of the year. So am I reading too much into this that AEW and New Japan might be in cahoots and are sharing stars and doing that kind of stuff going forward? Have they got that arrow in their quiver that they're going to be able to take advantage of the New Japan platform?
No, AEW is very chilly with New Japan, or rather, other way around. New Japan is very chilly with AEW right now from all reports.
Okay, well, so all right, okay. None of that makes any sense to me. Will, thank you very much for the question. Next up, Jacob, are you okay with Adam Cole picking just a regular wrestling match as his stipulation, and what do you think Regal will choose? Yes, I'm totally okay with it. As I said earlier, I was like, what? Initially, and then I thought about it a little more. I went, I see what sneaky little clever girl. I see what he's up to. So I expect something shenaniganry to ensue during after Johnny pins him during the street fight or getting his back, whatever. Yep.
I kind of feel like I almost wish it was a submission match, so it was just more about technical wrestling. But I'm fine with it. It's a little underwhelming to just hear it, but I think it makes sense. Yeah. I think it makes sense. And also, like I said, with his character, he's proven he can beat Johnny in a straight-up wrestling match. So to him, in his mind, he's like, I can beat you, and I want to prove that I can beat you in a straight-up wrestling match. So, yeah makes sense. He said, what did we think Regal was going to pick?
Yeah, what do you think Regal's third stipulation is going to be?
Hell in a cell!
In the middle of a match? They're going to stop everything and lower a cell?
I just have a cell hanging there.
Just for no reason. They're not even going to announce it yet.
I don't know. Maybe that's when the submission match is. You know, maybe that's a submission match at the end. Like the loser has to submit, and that's the story. Is that you have to give up to the other person for this to be over. Maybe that's the story, and I think that would be a good one.
That would be fun. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Jacob, for the question. Next up, Brad. Could something bigger be brewing for Bray Wyatt / The Fiend as he is being shown at the end of SummerSlam commercials in a little blip? I was going to bring this up myself earlier, but we got past it. There's little ads that are running and, just saying this year at SummerSlam, shot quick frame of The Fiend.
I don't think bigger. I think that he's going to squash Finn, look really strong. And then just terrorize everyone moving forward. He might, insert himself into somewhere else and cause havoc, maybe. But I think it could be just as simple as, it's a big new gimmick that they have. He's going to squash Finn, freak everybody out who's not expecting that. And then going forward, he's going to be a big presence on Raw.
Yeah.
Or SmackDown or wherever he's at. Brand split. Who cares?
Right. It doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
Is the point. Brad, thank you very much for the question, and thank you all for your questions this week in the Patreon listener questions. If you'd like to get yours in every week, head over to patreon.com/BWO, sign up for one of those awesome reward tiers, and you can get yours in. But Ian, we're not done yet. We're getting real close to the end here. We got just enough time for our other news lightning round.
Okay. Beep, 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 beep. Here we go. Well, right off the top, AEW news, kind of Pac. Remember, he couldn't show up at Double or Nothing because he was still the Dragon Gate champion and didn't want to lose. Well, he lost his Dragon Gate belt finally to Ben K. So now Pac's free to do what he wants in AEW. They said that he's still involved. So yeah, Pac to AEW again. You heard it here, 18th or whatever. So Pac probably. I wouldn't be surprised if he got involved somehow in All Out and you saw him do a run in or something.
Sure.
Or just showed an after-match beatdown, probably. NWA is officially trying to split with Ring of Honor. They're running like rats on a sinking ship with Ring of Honor. NWA is heading off in its own direction. Rumor is it wants to get its own TV show, so there may be another wrestling TV show to watch on a weekly, on a regular basis. Good Lord. Damn it, Billy.
I can't take any more. My eye holes don't have any more room for wrestling.
Killing me, Billy. You put on a good show, though.
Yes.
Jimmy Uso, we mentioned this earlier. Jimmy Uso was arrested again for DUI. Jimmy.
Dude, take a friggin' Uber.
Stop.
It's $5.
He's had and this is with Jimmy, it's a regular thing. He was arrested for criminal mischief and aggravated battery in 2006. 2008 was I think they called it affrays and right. He basically got into public scuffle in 2008. 2011 was his first DUI. 2013 was his second DUI. Earlier this year, Naomi was driving. Good job, buddy. Good job. Get your wife to drive when you're drunk. She was driving, but they got pulled over. He took his shirt off, squared up to the cops. Was released, and then now again, third DUI. Stop hanging out with Jeff Hardy is all I got to say.
Exactly.
Stop hanging out with Jeff Hardy. So, yeah, Jimmy Uso in trouble again, still in jail as far as we know, has not posted bail yet, but WWE says, once again, it's Jimmy Uso's life. He's going to do what he's going to do. Let's see. NXT, we already talked about them going on FS1 against AEW, so I don't need to read that. We talked about that a lot. So CM Punk has texted out, or in an interview, he said, if AEW wants to do business with me, they can call me, they can come talk to me. Texting offers isn't really a good way to do business. Apparently there are some people over at AEW who kind of went, what? Including Hangman Page, who already tweeted out, hey, Nick Jackson, your idea for my BTE bit was good, but if somebody wants to do business with me, they can come talk to me. Texting offers isn't really a good way to do business, at least.
I didn't know where that was coming from.
Work or building? I mean, are we building a upcoming feud with CM Punk?
It would not surprise me if just to stick it to Vince McMahon if CM Punk showed up on AEW. It would not surprise me in the least.
He'll be there in a mask at like one quick thing, if at all. I don't think he's going to go there. But that being said, if this is a shoot, if this is like really they're making fun of him, this tweet's going to make CM Punk mad for years. He's just going to be salty in his room and just mad about it for years and years.
Yelling about hockey.
Matt Riddle will be at Evolve 133 and 134 in Livonia, Michigan, and Chicago, Illinois, respectively, facing off against at 133 Josh Briggs, and on 134 he'll be teaming up with Kurt Stallion versus AR Fox and Leon Ruff for the tag titles, Evolve tag belts. So if you're a fan of Evolve, more Matt Riddle is coming your way. The Briscoes won the Ring of Honor tag team titles back at this weekend's Manhattan Mayhem, beat Guerrillas of Destiny to do so. So congratulations to the Briscoes for finally shutting Tama Tonga's big mouth. Yes. Speaking of Ring of Honor, they have concluded their quote-unquote investigation of the fan incident with Bully Ray from earlier this year. You may recall that a fan was heckling some of the wrestlers who he later said were spitting at him, and then he was called to the back, and Bully Ray told him to knock it off and intimidated him, supposedly. The statement that Ring of Honor released said, we have now concluded our internal investigation into the events that occurred in Portland on June 2nd and have taken appropriate actions with all parties involved. Our code of honor, which calls for sportsmanship, respect, and honor in and outside of the ring, is a core value of this company and one we will continue to strive to uphold. To all of our loyal and dedicated fans, we apologize for the incident that transpired, and we encourage all of our fans to continue attending our events. Furthermore, we promise to continue delivering the best wrestling and the best live experience on the planet. In adherence to the Ring of Honor policy, we will not comment further on these matters. Oh, Ring of Honor. Oh, Ring of Honor. Corporate speak is thy name.
That's how you write a press release, folks.
Man. And the fan who was actually involved, his name was Josh Ketch, tweeted back, shrugs forever.
Right.
And retweeted that. So good job, Ring of Honor. Way to counter the fan sentiment. Darby Allin versus Joey Janela versus Jimmy Havoc will be a match at All Out in what Nick and I have come to start calling the Someone May Die match.
Yes.
Those three in a match. The second that it becomes a hardcore match, someone's gonna die. Speaking of people being added to matches, Battle of Los Angeles is happening in September, and Brody King, our boy Brody King, will be one of the participants. You may have been watching Dark Side of the Ring on Viceland. It's been awesome. I highly recommend it. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's great. They got renewed. Season 2, 10-hour-long episodes will be coming. More Dark Side of the Ring. It's the one on Bruiser Brody is fantastic.
Speaking of things getting made, can I also throw a shout out to Ryan Nemeth, who was our first and so far only interview guest here on the Busted Wide Open podcast. He fully funded his movie project.
Did he get it?
Heel.
Oh, dude, congratulations, brother.
It is now officially in production. They are making the movie
Good
Heel.
Job.
And it's, if you listen to the interview, you heard that it was going to be about sexual harassment and sexual abuse and things like that go on behind the scenes in the industry. So very, very proud to say that we got to help promote him and help get the show made, and just all credit and all hope and just go get it, Ryan. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Amen. Speaking of friends of the show, Josh Barnett. I'm trying to hook him up for an interview here. We're working on it. He's a busy man. Busy because he's facing Jon Moxley at Bloodsport 2.
What?
He's facing. Last time was Minoru Suzuki. Now it's Jon Moxley.
Good God.
Josh Barnett is hitting it out of the park. Way to go, buddy. I cannot wait to watch that match. It should be awesome. And then finally, bar wrestling, LA's own bar wrestling on the 1st of August. No, bar wrestling. No. It's going to be Brian Cage and Scott Steiner versus Joey Ryan and Orange Cassidy.
Oh, God.
I'm going to take a pause, and I want you to imagine what that match is going to be.
It's like two giant dudes and two little dudes. That's hilarious.
Two swole-ass guys versus Dick Flip and Orange Cassidy, who can't be bothered to wrestle. It's going to be entertaining.
I want to see Brian Cage and Scott Steiner get Dick flipped. I'd pay to see that.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Actually, right before we finish up this, speaking that we're mentioning PWG, it looks like in the chat, Esmeralda Soto says she's going to her first PWG event tomorrow, 16. Yes. I unfortunately am not able to make it to that one, but that card looks absolutely amazing. Have a fun time. Have an amazing time. It's going to be a great show. It's like 90% AEW guys there tomorrow night. It's awesome. So it should be a great show. And it's a fun.
Are they still doing those at the Globe?
They are indeed.
Nice.
They are indeed.
Nice.
Yep.
You'll get to see Excalibur, the new the commentary guy for you said 90% AEW guys, also including Excalibur.
They all came through there. They're all there.
Yep. Well, guys, there you go. Thank you very much, Sir Ian Dangerous, for the rundown of the other news. And that is our show, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in right here on YouTube. The chat has been lively today. It's been actually a little difficult to keep up with it. I keep having to scroll back up and look at it. But thank you guys for tuning in. And I promise you want to be in the Busted Wide Open discussion group because things are a-changing. And we got some big changes coming to the show. I did a little video today where you can go watch that. It's about 15 minutes. Go over some of those because the landscape of everything is getting ready to change in about 60 days. And the big trigger catalyst of all of this is SmackDown moving to Fridays. So we're having to morph the show a little bit as well. But the good news is we're bringing you more content 2 times a week. We got a lot of good stuff planned. By the way, to close out the show, for those that are still sticking around, I have a surprise for you. Sir Ian Dangerous and I did a little bit of a offline, we talk shop, talk business. We had to do a little business meeting this past weekend. And he stuck his big old foot in his mouth. And I told him I think we can get to 1,000 subscribers by the time Fox airs SmackDown Live on Fridays on October 4th. He told me.
You did.
He told me, he countered me and said, there's no way in hell that happens.
I didn't see it.
For those that have been around the show long enough, does that sound familiar to something that's happened before? So, here's what we're going to do. Sir Ian Dangerous, if we get 1,000 subscribers by October 4th, you have agreed to sing Tai Chi's theme song in Japanese at karaoke, have it filmed and put on YouTube.
Yes.
There you go, folks. And I tell you what, I even doubled down on him. Here, I'm looking right into the camera for those of you watching. If we get it done by the end of August, if we get there by September 1st, not only
1,000 YouTube subscribers.
1,000 YouTube subscribers is the goal here. That's where we're going. If we can get there, not only will he do it if we get there by October 4th, if we get it done even sooner by September 1st, not only will he sing Tai Chi's entrance song in Japanese at karaoke,
oh, God.
Nick will, in addition, sing Nia Jax's theme song at karaoke.
There we go.
Record
now
it
we're
and
talking.
Put it up.
Now we're talking.
Doubling
now
down.
We're talking.
Doubling down because I believe in all of you. I know we can get it done.
Let me clarify. As end of August, so September 1st, if at midnight, October 31st, September 1st, if we have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you sing Nia Jax's theme song and I sing Tai Chi's theme song?
Yes.
Okay. But if we don't get it until October, 2nd?
4th, I think. 2nd is AEW, 4th is SmackDown.
Okay. Let's make sure about this.
Yeah.
4th.
I said when SmackDown airs
4th.
on Fox.
Right. Okay. Then I have to sing Tai Chi's theme song.
You have to sing Tai Chi's theme song. You can do it. You can do it, listeners. You got to help us, though. All of you listening, there's thousands of you that listen to this show. Come subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you get, oh my God, some of the funniest content you might ever see.
Funny for everyone else. I have to admit, I'm going to be because I know what it will do for this show for us to hit that 1,000 member mark. Because I know what it will do for the show, I will. Okay, happily is the wrong word, but I will sing Tai Chi's theme song with gratitude in my heart. I will. But if we don't make it, and I don't have to sing Tai Chi's theme song, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be a bit relieved because this sounds like I can't believe I said this.
Yep.
I can't believe you. Not only did I say this, but then you put me to the fire and said, "Say it on the show, dude. Say it. Come on back."
If I had a mic,
anyway.
I would drop it. But there you go. There's a pin. Close enough, guys. The gauntlet thrown down. Deliver. Make it happen because I want to see this too. And I think I think you guys can do it by the end of August. I think you can do it by September 1st.
People in the chat talking about buying tickets to California to come see this when it happens. No.
There you go. There you go.
Oh.
Bring it.
Oh my God, what have I done?
Bring it.
Let's
go, guys.
1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers.
1,000 subscribers.
It's not happening without that. It's
by
not
September
happening without
1st
that.
for both of us, or October 4th for just Sir Ian Dangerous.
God
Get it done.
damn it.
There you go, guys.
All right.
To finish things up, you can also follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast, right here on YouTube, where you want to subscribe at youtube.com/bustedwideopen so you can see all of that magic happen.
Everyone subscribe October 5th.
No!
No, sorry. Right. No, we want to get them.
Everybody watching the video can see at the bottom left of the screen right there. There's our goal. We have 70 days as of today till October 4th to get to 1,000. We're currently at 210, 1/5 of the way there. We're already 20% there. We got 60 days, more than
September
60
1st.
days.
September 1st. You're going down with me. September 1st.
Hey, you know what? Gauntlet thrown down. If they pick it up and they make it happen, do it. Let's go. Okay. I'm down. Last but certainly not least, to help you guys get there, we're going to begin doing monthly giveaways. All right, starting on August 1st next week through a service called Gleam. It's going to be a merch grab bag, couple of T-shirts, a little Chubb cup, and some stickers every month, about $50 to $60 worth of merch every month. And all you have to do is be following us and subscribe to the YouTube channel across all our socials. You guys will hear more about that in the group. We'll tweet it out the giveaway. I promise you'll hear about it if you follow us anywhere on the show. But to get a head start, you can go follow us on Instagram, Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you like our Facebook page. There you go. You'll be automatically entered into a free monthly merch grab bag. Ta-da! That's how easy it'll be. So that's one way that we're going to quickly get to 1,000 subscribers so that Sir Ian Dangerous has to sing Tai Chi's theme song in Japanese in front of a bar full of patrons.
Dude, it's getting worse and worse.
But that's our show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Love that we dropped that bombshell on you right at the end. My name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at Data Center Dude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
I forgot to start the song. Oh, it's so good.
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.
And we're out. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in today. I hope you liked that big surprise there at the end. For those of you still hanging around. For those of you listening to this on the podcast, you'll just have to find out later. But little sneak peek there for you guys that were live here in the chat. Thank you very much for that, for hanging out with us every single week. We'll be here until October, at least. We'll be here every week, Thursdays. So thanks for tuning in and being a part of it.
Yeah, and then it will be getting rejiggered, and we'll see where we end up.
Yes, indeed. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you guys so much.
We'll see you guys next time. Later.